It just got rolling on Monday. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Justin Couzart, Couz. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What's happening, man?
Same old, man. You know what's up. Just doing the whole training camp thing. So got a nice workout this morning. Ended up doing some mitt work and then went to the YMCA and got a little lift in. Ended up getting some sprints in as well. So cardio feels good. Strength feels good. And the most important thing is I'm healthy.
Hashtag humble brag for the amount of workout you just got in. But, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about this morning. We really haven't pumped it up, and this thing's sneaking up on us. Like, the Players' Championship to me is sneaking up.
True.
We're not used to this. Like, I'm not used to this. If you've been here more than 12 years, you might be used to it. But the Players in March doesn't exist for me until this year. So my mental clock is all screwed up. I went to the Combine for the first time ever. That helped screw it up. And the temperature outside's like 50 degrees. So it doesn't feel like golf weather right now.
It doesn't, but I actually enjoy this kind of weather.
No, the weather's fine. I don't mind the chill in the air, and that's okay, but just doesn't feel like...
But it does kind of throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, so mentally I'm a mess right now is what I'm trying to tell you. And by the way, we'll have a little therapy later in the show. I need it. I need to get something out, but that's later. So I really just a mess. Just a giant mess on a Tuesday here in March. But the Players is next week, man. I mean, a week from today, everybody will be out there for practice rounds and everything else. But then I was thinking, like, hey, we haven't really even talked about Austin's fight coming up. March 16th. We got to promote this thing. We got to push this thing.
Shrine, yep. Combat night.
And getting a good crew. I'm bringing a crew, I think.
Solid, man.
Watch out, man. They drink heavy.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I don't want to be associated with you.
We'll cheer you on.
Okay.
Will you have Mr. Blank Austin shirts?
Maybe we'll work on some shorts for you.
Doesn't really rhyme, but
yeah, no. I don't know. We'll have to figure out something. We'll get some shirts or something going.
Yep, he's gonna be stopped at the door.
By the way, I offered a shirt up. I offered a shirt on Twitter if you could come up and nail the exact parameters of Foles' deal if it happens in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Got a ton of response. It's amazing how people just want a free shirt.
People want the free stuff, man.
Free shirt for people.
Can't turn it down.
I mean, it's like you just got handed $500.
So, is it an ESPN 690 shirt or
I don't
what?
know,
Because
man.
I don't even have
up.
one. Okay, so you're just kind of making up stuff as you go along here.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to go buy it until Couz shares.
I know
with me.
Yeah,
or
I lose all the items I'm given. The only one I have is the bottle opener.
Or
I put it on my keys.
Or Boss Man Nick puts an order in for shirts.
Yeah. And
I'm just going to have to make my own up, go to like the mall, and it might be tie-dyed for you.
Couz is like the Pablo Escobar right now of ESPN 690 merch, and he refuses to share any of it with anybody. Ridiculous.
But I was thinking, is it kind of weird and a little silly if we put our show logo, like the caricatures of us on a shirt?
I'm not mad at that.
Would you put it on the front or the back?
You have to go the front, you think,
you do
right?
the front?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's the front because obviously my hair hangs out in the back and can cover it up. So that's why I say the front.
You just made a decision.
To each their own.
Nice job. Executive decision made.
There you go.
You got to do like the pocket. You know, like right where the pocket would be on some shirts.
I know,
that's like the new trend.
But wouldn't the caricature thing, like our show logo, be a little small for that?
I guess it would be. It might be, and it might look weird if it's just like this big circle right on the left side of your chest.
I mean, I want to go into Walmart and just see somebody wearing my face on their shirt.
That'd be weird. I feel like if it's like the cartoon one, I think it should just be the whole back of the shirt, honestly.
See, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, the caricature.
I mean, it can be the whole front of the shirt, too.
Maybe like small ESPN 6 or Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, small one on there, and then the whole back is just the cartoon of you guys.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Whatever. Screw your hair, get it cut.
That's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh,
that's you're asking a lot of me there, Brent. I was once offered $30,000 to cut it. I said no. So
did you really?
Yeah.
What would be the number?
Don't stop there. Tell us more of the story.
This would have been my second year in Jacksonville, and a few players on the team. Not going to name any names. Pot Roast was one of them. Pot Roast and Mincy. They offered to kind of throw a pool in together and get everybody to, basically throw some money in to get me to shave my head because they're curious to see what my head looked like shaven. And I said, absolutely not. And I'm pretty sure the pot got to like $30,000.
Wow.
And I said, no, there's no way.
I'm telling you, man, as a rookie, that's pretty good. To not be able to fall on that.
It's good for anybody. It's $30,000, man.
I'm pretty sure I would do a lot of things, like a lot of weird things for $30,000.
I'm sure you would, Couz.
Well, you said the other day, would you have Austin knock you out? Don't tell us what this was in relation to.
Oh yeah.
But
what?
Would you have Austin knock you out for $20,000? would you take the punch?
I probably would let you knock me out for 20 grand.
I mean, I can do it for free if you keep talking smack about Spider-Man. You just tell me when, man.
Oh, no, see, there's got to be money involved. I got to be waking up to a stack or something.
Fair enough.
All right, so we have to get some shirts, though. But we had a ton of reaction, and I'm going to save them because I want to see next week if this thing gets done. Which I continue to say about. Did you see USA Today come out last night? Say all the reports of this a bit premature. Kind of like I told you yesterday.
Get off the fence, man.
But I'm not on the fence. I'm telling you it's not done. I'm telling you that. It's not done.
You're on the fence.
So if it happens, we'll have all these responses and see where it goes from there. But shirts do need to be made. We've got to work on that.
Just give me something. I mean, a coffee mug, a pen, something.
So back to really your fight. I want to promote the fight a little bit. Are you ready? Are you getting? See what's happened to me in the timing of this thing. You talked about it a bit, as we were starting this venture. But then the contract doesn't get signed until like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So then they don't start promoting it, and then bam, all of a sudden the event's here. So it didn't feel like you knew 4 months in advance, even though you kind of did.
Yeah.
Like we all didn't for sure. And now you're 11 days away from it. So you feel good. You look good. You've been working out. I mean, I just want to make sure you're ready. I mean, the ice guy's going to be ready.
Well, it's funny. I was actually talking to Nick, our boss, before you got in here, and he kind of came up to me. He's like, dude, it's kind of weird because, like, you go train in the morning, then you come in here, and then you train, like, at night. He's like, isn't that hard to turn on and turn off, Because, obviously, when I'm training in the morning, I'm training at night. I mean, that requires a lot of physical skill, and it's a lot of testosterone, a lot of, in-your-face kind of stuff. And I told him, and it's honest to God truth, this is almost like a blessing to me coming in here for 3 hours and just talking sports because it allows me to decompress a little bit. It kind of allows me to taper off a little bit. So obviously in the morning I'll go train, and then I start to study for the show and, research some things. I come in here, and it's just 3 hours of, laughing and just having fun, and then I go train again. So it's kind of a nice, you start off – I guess you start off intense and you kind of taper off and go to the show, and then you finish intense.
Well,
so
you're damn straight. It's a blessing because we obviously acknowledge that too. We're yet to give you a paycheck.
I know, no, it's all good, man. I mean, it's right now it's kind of like an internship. I feel like I'm doing a really long internship. So.
Probation.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Nick asked that question to you, but I've kind of thought about that too. In that world, you have to be so intense. We talked about this in between the lines. I always look at like Malik Jackson. Malik Jackson's a cool dude. Like he's intense, and you can see he's got a little bit of an edge to him, even in the locker room or outside the football field. But I really think he flips a switch. Like it's a little, like I've seen him mic'd up before. I've seen him in a game before. Like it's a different switch. Like it's a noticeable switch. I think Paul Posluszny had that too.
Without a doubt.
And you have to be able to do that. But I marvel at that, to be able to go from 0 to 180 that quick and for a 3-hour stretch and then be able to turn it off, I think is unbelievable. But I've actually wondered that about you too. Like, now don't get this wrong.
No.
But I don't think you're that nice of a guy. But I almost feel like
Thanks, man.
I almost feel like you might be too nice to fight. Like,
no,
that's what I'm saying. Like, are you too nice to be good at MMA?
Brent, I mean, you've covered me on the field too a little bit, man. And that's the thing I always take pride in is when it comes to, crossing the white lines, I used to always say, or going in the cage or even going to MMA practice, there's something different. There's a flip that is a switch that is flipped. You've even said it yourself. You saw it here a couple times when Kuz was talking about Spider-Man, and I kind of perked up a little bit and I got a little upset.
No, you've threatened us multiple times. So, I mean, that's why I hedged a little bit on the nice.
and I'm sure if you remember we're playing darts and everything like that. I was also a little ultra competitive when we're playing darts in Atlanta for Super Bowl weekend as well. So I definitely do flip a switch, and I'm sure it is scary for some people because listen, like if I go in that cage or if I'm getting ready to go in the cage and I'm backstage, I mean it's a completely different person. I've had multiple teammates. I've had multiple teammates in football and MMA tell me that. So it's just something that I've always been like. I feel like if I was to maintain that intensity outside the cage or outside the field, it'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
And you find, especially in the fight game, there's a lot of guys that can't turn it off, and they kind of, they encounter some problems and whatnot in their social life. So when it comes to being outside the cage or being outside MMA practice, I'm a super laid back, chill kind of guy. That's the way I've always been raised and everything like that. But don't get it twisted. There is another side to me. I don't want to say like I'm a sociopath or anything, but there definitely is another side to me.
Yeah, watch out. Watch out if you're in a football field, in a cage, at the conch house, or in a mosh pit.
Fair enough. No, man, if I see somebody in the mosh pit, it's all love, man. It's all love. I don't go in there looking to hurt anybody.
One last thing. your hair, since it started the conversation a little bit, can that be used against you in an MMA fight?
That's a great question. It actually was used against me my third amateur fight, where a gentleman actually pulled the dread out, and I saw it fall on the ground, and actually really it ticked me off. So because I can feel it, obviously. I mean, you have so much adrenaline going through you in a fight, but you can still feel pain, obviously. So I felt the dread get ripped out, didn't feel good, and that kind of ticked me off. So instead of sticking to a game plan, I just kind of went right at him and said, screw this, I'm just going to try to knock him out, which thankfully I did. So I had to actually cut my hair a little bit. For free, unfortunately, I cut it for free. But like the way I have it set up now is I have it tied back pretty well, and it's kind of like in a bun or whatever like that. So it's hard to get a grab of.
Well, $30,000 to cut your hair. I'm trying to think what part of my body I get $30,000 for.
Dude, it's just it's a weird thing when you start growing dreads, where it's just like they end up being a part of you, you know. So it'd be like cutting a part of myself off if I did that. And
I'd let someone cut off my pinky for $30,000.
For 30 grand?
I probably would.
I really didn't know.
Using it.
As Kuz was starting to say that, I had no idea what I was doing.
Right, dude. Kuz has been
that was the longest first letter of a word I've ever heard.
Kuz has been on a wild card streak lately, man. You don't know what he's going to say next. Oh.
Hey, let's talk some football and fun and a little bit of everything. And a Jags QB will join us in the 4 o'clock hour. That's the tease.
Is he a current QB or a former QB?
I'm not saying this.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
Okay.
But it is a QB on ESPN 690. More to come. Stay with us next.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
It's hard to beat that new car smell, especially when it's a brand new Hyundai. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks, and I think we could all agree there's something to that new car smell you just can't beat. You also can't beat the exceptional service at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. It's a brand new dealership here in town, and my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville live by giving you the most superb car buying experience you can get. No one likes to be haggled or pressured when buying a car. The staff at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville understands this and emphasizes their no-risk, no-pressure approach. They'll help you find the right car for you at the right price. And if you are not 100% satisfied with your new car, you can bring it back to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville within the first 7 days for your money back. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with the limited lifetime warranty that's good anywhere in the United States. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
Okay, for today's sales meeting, I've got a new handout. It's entitled The 4 C's, how to deal with a shopper who comes to our jewelry store after he's been to Diamonds Direct. First C, complicate. Get their heads spinning with terms like GIA, IGI, SI1, VSI2. Make them think our diamonds are just like the ones at Diamonds Direct. Second C, confuse. Refer back to the first C. Don't let them compare apples to apples. We'll lose every sale. Trash Diamonds Direct if you have to. Third C, convert. Talk them into a smaller diamond or an inferior cut diamond. That way we can be competitive on price with Diamonds Direct. And the fourth C, change. Change the subject. Tell them how we've been here forever, or tell them our knockoff rings are just as good as the designers at Diamonds Direct. Just say whatever you can so you can get the most important C of all, commission.
Other stores will try just about anything to compete with Diamonds Direct, but it's no use. Diamonds Direct is forever changing how people here buy diamonds, with higher quality, better diamond education, more selection, and the guaranteed best prices. Diamonds Direct at the Markets at Town Center between West Marine and REI.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau, and if you're looking for something to do for dinner tonight, I've got an idea. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years, fresh ingredients every day. That's what Renna's Pizza was built on, and that's what Renna's Pizza delivers. A menu to satisfy the entire family tonight. Fantastic pizza, fresh salad, and Italian favorites like lasagna. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Be a part of the family and get dinner tonight at Renna's Pizza.
You look at the way Paul George is playing, and you look at Russell Westbrook, I don't think anybody can deny Oklahoma City may be the biggest threat to the Golden State Warriors.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back on the Tuesday edition. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane and Kuz pushing all the buttons. And we're having some fun. Off to a good start on Tuesday. And Nick Foles continues to dominate the water coolers around town, I would think. Water coolers across the country when it comes to the NFL. Or does everybody just think now it's a foregone conclusion and, okay, we're moving on to the next story, give us something else. It is franchise tag day across the NFL, so everybody keeping their eye on some players that could be tagged. A bunch of the players were announced yesterday or at least reported on, and then today you got to make that decision. The Jags will not have any of those decisions to make in terms of a franchise tag. Instead, the focus continues to be, will Nick Foles end up in Jacksonville? What will the deal look like? Who will they get in the first round if Foles gets here? So, well, any other thoughts on Nick Foles as we roll out on Tuesday? Because I warned people yesterday. I said it's going to be Nick Foles week in Jacksonville. I mean, we are going to.
It has to be.
I said
the way it is.
Hey, we got to find a different way to advance this thing, or it's going to be the same old story. But until next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Nick Foles conversation is going to be, well, what it's been. And my thought on it is we've talked about Nick Foles in this light for probably some 2 months now. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has been a connect the dots possibility ever since John DeFilippo really took over as the offensive coordinator, was hired as the offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. You connected the dots. So I think we have varying opinions. In a minute, we'll hear an opinion that is not so great on Nick Foles about coming to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think right now people are okay with the move from a national standpoint. I'm not talking about Jags fans, because there is a segment of the fans, at least that I follow on social media or we talk to on social media, that some are just so in love with Dwayne Haskins and the idea of Haskins that anything else is not even worth taking a look at. And that happens. That stuff happens. And you know what? I always say this. You might be right. But I also think the logic of a Nick Foles in this situation, just put you in the at Jags headquarters right now, also makes a lot of sense and could be right.
People love just like, the fresh new thing. I mean, with Foles, we're pretty sure we know basically what we're getting. He might surprise us. We shall see if we do get Foles, that is. But with Haskins, and with Murray as well, because you have to throw Murray in the conversation as well, just in case, because there are some mock drafts that have Murray going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Maurice Jones-Drew today said that he wouldn't mind seeing the Jaguars draft Murray as well. So, listen, those guys like the fresh new thing. So, as a football fan, you always want to be intrigued. I mean, it's all about intrigue, especially in the offseason, coming off an abysmal year. You want to tie your wagon to something hopeful. You want to tie your wagon to something new. And with Nick Foles, he's not the new guy, unfortunately. And, I've been kind of seeing people say, like, we shouldn't be so hard on Nick Foles because, listen, when he went to St. Louis, who was he with? He was with Jeff Fisher. And people are starting to point to maybe Jeff, Fisher isn't really a quarterback whisperer, because you saw what happened with Jared Goff as well, where Jared Goff was with the Rams in L.A. and didn't have a really good first season. Well, all of a sudden, the new coach comes in, McVay comes in, and all of a sudden, Goff's I don't want to say an elite quarterback, but he's a pretty good, I'd say a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. So people want to argue, well, maybe it's Fisher that had something to do with, Foles not being so well. If you want to take that road, and hey, by all means, take that road, but then let me point to this. In his best season, in the season that really got him signed, to the Rams and that free agent deal, in his best season of 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, that was with a Chip Kelly offense that was brand new to the NFL. So if you're going to say, well, Fisher's responsible for Foles, having that bad year, then I'm going to go out on a limb and say, well, guess what? Then Chip Kelly's responsible for Foles having his best year of his career.
Yeah, and I guess you could make that case. What I'm always enamored in is this circle of Nick Foles, where Nick Foles has that year, then gets traded away for Sam Bradford, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean that's why, first of all, 27-2, and then Sam Bradford comes in, and obviously he can't stay healthy. He just won't stop getting hurt. And we really don't know how good of a quarterback Sam Bradford could have been, would have been, will be. But I think it's interesting that he's still on the market, Yeah. And I'll also add to that the whole Case Keenum thing with the Rams, where Foles got benched and Keenum came in. And isn't it funny that the Jags could actually pick all 3 guys if they want to right now?
Yeah.
They could have Bradford, Keenum, and Foles playing whatever one they want, and obviously different price points. But the guy that rose out of those three is Nick Foles. The guy that's accomplished more is Nick Foles. The guy that won a Super Bowl and an MVP and really has gone on a run these last couple of years is Nick Foles. And I think that's fascinating that those three quarterbacks are kind of morphed together in some of the crosshairs of the NFL transactions, if you will, over the last handful of years. And here we are in 2019, maybe predicting Nick Foles. I teased something yesterday at the end of the show, and I said why the Jags might be lucky to get Nick Foles. And I think people refuse to look at it this way. Right now, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think there's two schools of thought on Nick Foles. One, this is a big mistake and you're going to overpay. Two, this is a logical play for the interim until you find your franchise quarterback. Well, Mike, just broaden your horizons a little bit. Come with me in the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, which it might be time to bring back in 2019. But might the Jags be getting this stroke of luck that has eluded this organization so many different times? They've had more bad luck than good luck. They've got a quarterback that's 30 years old. And in my opinion, again, they don't have him yet, but they've got a quarterback out there in this free agent market. 30 years old, a Super Bowl MVP. I bring up his resume. It's decent. It's pretty good. His touchdowns to interceptions. He's got some leadership skills that people talk about. He's kind of calm, cool, and collected, a bit unflappable, if you will. I think 30 years old is when quarterbacks kind of come into their own, 29, 30, 31. I think it's the one position where I'd rather have a 30-year-old guy than a 24-year-old guy. He's got a lot of experience. He's dealt with things, and now you have a guy playing at the best he's ever played, has some confidence too. And on top of that, you might be the only team interested in him. In a quarterback-starved world of football, and especially in the NFL, the Jags land in a spot where they might be the only team interested in a Super Bowl MVP, a guy coming into his own, maybe in his prime, maybe about to take off in his career. Again, there's a lot of maybes here, but there's a lot of maybes if you draft Dwayne Haskins. So come with me, stay with me. Don't get off my Sunshine and Rainbows Club just yet.
I'm with you, man.
But might the Jags be getting a stroke of luck that they have not been able to find? Here's what's happened to the Jags in the past. The Jags have had to draft a QB like Blake Bortles and reach for somebody because, well, there wasn't a ton of quarterbacks available that draft that they fell in love with. They had to go get a Luke Joeckel because there wasn't, even though they had the number 2 pick, there were no quarterbacks in the 2013 draft to take. So they had to go after an offensive tackle, even though they had a top 2 pick. A year later, I believe it was Jameis Winston. Well, actually, that would have been, a year later would have been Bortles. 2014 would have been Bortles. So 2015 would have been like Winston and Mariota. Like, why couldn't they have had the Winston-Mariota problem to deal with in 2013 instead of, like, no quarterbacks?
But is that really a problem you even want,
well,
though?
I know, but at the time, you would have been like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, or Goff and Wentz.
True.
You know? That when they were picking top 2, they didn't have those quarterbacks. Why couldn't the Jags all these years been like the Indianapolis Colts? You ride with Peyton Manning, he retires, you suck for a year, and you go get Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, and you fall into the number 1 spot. The Jags haven't been that team. Mm-hmm. But are we looking at a Jags franchise right now with jobs on the line and win-now mentality and a team that's halfway decent around them? As much as we kill the offense, they still have some decent players. And I think some quick fixes potential on offense. And we know the defense is at least good. How good, we can debate, but we know it's at least good. Might they be getting lucky in the landing spot they are with a 30-year-old quarterback and maybe the only team interested in bringing in a Super Bowl MVP? How many times does that happen? And what you're telling me, because you're negative, Twitter, I get it, you're negative, is you're telling me he's the only one available because nobody wants him and they don't think he's good. But might you be wrong? I think it's more nobody needs him.
I agree with that. And the fact, too, I mean, you said that the Jaguars might get lucky here. Well, the Jaguars could use some luck this offseason because you look at free agency. When it comes to wide receivers, the Jaguars may need one. The only guy available really that we're talking about is Antonio Brown, and I don't want Antonio Brown anymore after his whole tirade and whatnot, and just the off the field chaos. Well, we'll get into that later. Shame on you for that thought. But anyways, and then getting back to the draft as well. Listen, we're not talking about any top 10 wide receivers except DK Metcalf, who Tom Brady ran a better 3-yard shuttle than DK Metcalf did. So there's not a lot of options in that top 10. There's not one guy that's like, well, if we get Foles, we got to draft this guy because he's going to be a Jaguar, and I like what he brings to the table. There's nothing like that at all. So the fact that maybe we can get that free agent quarterback, maybe we can get lucky, that's a great thing. And one more thing, too, that no one's talking about when it comes to Nick Foles, if he does go to the Jaguars, what was the Jaguars' biggest thing that they needed last year that didn't have was leadership. Nick Foles is going to give you some of that leadership. You see how the Philadelphia Eagles locker room praised him and everything like that. Even when the Eagles didn't bring him back, you saw some outcry from former Eagles players and whatnot. So Foles is going to bring leadership, and that's something that you can't put a price tag on. So from that aspect, I'm excited.
Be careful with leadership, though. I think leadership comes with success. The problem, Blake Bortles not necessarily a bad leader. The problem is he didn't have enough success to command the respect from that position to be able to lead. The voice wasn't loud enough because I don't have flash in a Super Bowl ring or wins in the playoffs. Foles did have that.
Yeah, but do you think going to doing Barstool Sports and doing these crazy interviews with blondes is a good thing as well for a leader?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I don't know about for a leader.
Okay, well, there you go. I don't see Foles doing that stuff.
More Foles talk next on ESPN 690.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Did James Harrison ever tell Ben Roethlisberger to put down the beers and get in a little better shape? Please say yes.
Ben's in good shape.
He is?
Ben looks good.
If you say he looks good, he looks good. That's the deal. We think he runs like a skyscraper, but if you say he looks good, that's fine by us. We'll let it go.
That's a good thing he ain't paid to run. He paid to throw.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Why do local women watch Action News, Jax? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they can just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News, Jax than any other station.
Like, your lack of retention is a breathtaking thing that should be among the 7 wonders of the world. I couldn't see the uniform through Devon's smoke.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stuttgarts. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, we're going to talk a little LeBron James in a little bit. The Lakers are a mess. How does it hurt LeBron's legacy, if it does? And where are the Lakers ending up in 2019? Kuz, author of the Drive and Dish podcast, will share some thoughts. And we might have to play a little over-under game getting to the end of the year in the NBA, which is coming pretty fast. Let's stay on football for a moment. Again, top of the hour, we'll have some QB talk as well. A Jags QB will join us. And but more on Nick Foles. And as we were just talking, just if you just caught us in the break, we were wrapping up with, I think there's a potential here. Now, I'm not saying I firmly believe this, but I think you have to float the idea of it, that the Jags might be getting fortunate in this whole QB situation. I think we look at things so negatively. Like, there's no way it can work, right? There's no way. I don't think you can dismiss and ignore his resume. His resume is pretty decent. I mean, this is a franchise that just got to an AFC Championship game with Blake Bortles, who many people malign. I didn't malign him as much as everybody else, but I think everybody would say this is an upgrade over Blake Bortles. So if it's an upgrade over Blake Bortles and the guy's got success and you make it to the playoffs and he'll have that success in his back pocket, and he has all these intangibles that people are starting to talk about, he's comfortable. So let's see one other part of this. Problem with bringing in a rookie QB or any QB, and the problem with bringing in an offensive coordinator with any QB is they have to learn each other. They don't know each other. This is maybe the best part of potentially Nick Foles joining the Jaguars, is that he knows the offensive coordinator. We have experienced this way too much in Jacksonville. Who did we have? It was Allen Robinson we had on at the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And remember, A-Rob, we were asking him about Jacksonville, and did you want to get away from Jacksonville? Was that a better move? And his thought was, I wanted to get away from all the change. He's like, this isn't an excuse. He just said it's hard when you have a different guy coming in every year, different offense, different language, different expectations, different style. That's fact. And players will say that's fact. The one beauty of a lot of teams that have done well is the continuity of coach and quarterback, offensive coordinator and quarterback. I mean, even the great Tom Brady, as great as he is, look at the continuity they have had. Even McDaniels now has been there in and out for a long, long time. I mean, they've kept their offensive line coach. Even after he retired, they went back and got him, Skarnecchia. And obviously Belichick and Brady. So, I mean, you look at the greatest. He's the greatest for a lot of different reasons, but you've got to believe knowing how to finish each other's sentences in our business is just the same as those guys being able to feed off each other when calling a play on 3rd and 8 in a tight situation and trusting that. You know? So I think you got to look at that part and say, this is a good situation potentially. Why can't we look at it that way? This could be a good situation with Nick Foles. Yeah, you got to keep your fingers crossed because it's the NFL and it's QB position. But I think this guy, if it happens, could be walking into a really good situation because you know they're going in the next week and 2 months, they're going to get some added weapons for him. You know that. How good they are, I can't tell you, but they're going to try. So on top of that, it could be a good situation for him, just like he was in Philly. He had a good offensive line. He had good weapons, no doubt. He admits that. But on the flip side, this could be a very good situation for the Jags. And I think we're in a little bit of denial that could be the case. The people that want the young QB, and I get it. I respect it. That's fine. If you want Haskins, go get him. I like that you're all in on that. But you're almost in denial a bit anytime anybody talks about Nick Foles, and it's like it can't be good because it's not Haskins. Well, that's not necessarily the case.
True.
And Haskins, by the way, could be bad too. So I think we just haven't looked at it that way where – is it possible? And some would say, well, no, because it's the Jaguars. But is it possible that the Jaguars are right now getting lucky and making a very good decision that might benefit this franchise for the next 3 to 6, maybe even more years?
I brought up the leadership standpoint, and you seem kind of hesitant to give him the whole leadership card. Do you think Foles brings leadership, or are you not buying into that?
Well, as a part of me, I just don't know him well enough.
I mean,
I don't. And
as I don't either.
I'm reading stuff, and I think, again, I'm a believer that in this league, and you played in it, I believe grown men playing sport at an elite level respect the game. They might not go out to dinner with Nick Foles. They might not buy him a gift. I don't know. But they respect the fact that he's played well in crunch time especially. Mm-hmm. And when you come up big in this, I think everybody across sports and professional sports especially respects game, whether they like a guy or not. And to me, that's where the leadership evolves. Mm-hmm. Now, what does he do? You know what? Don't tell me he commands a huddle. Do not do that. Whatever you do, don't tell him. Blaine Gabbert commanded a huddle, okay? Guys have commanded huddles in Jacksonville for a long time. I don't need the guy to be able to say, Blue 42, 80, I write on 3, Omaha, whatever it is. I mean, he's a quarterback. He can do that. To me, the command in the huddle might be important to some people, but I think it goes to you command the huddle because you're playing with confidence and you're playing well.
That's a great point. Actually, so, I spent a little time with Chicago, and I talked to a few former players who played with Peyton Manning and Jay Cutler. They played with both of them. And they said that the only difference between their attitude and the way they approach the game in practice and whatnot, because, obviously Peyton Manning was kind of known as a guy, I don't want to say how am I going to put this? He demanded perfection. Okay. I mean, he wasn't the easiest guy to practice with because if you drop the ball, you have to do it again. If you don't run the play right, you have to restart the whole drill over again. That was Peyton Manning's MO. Okay. That's why Peyton Manning was so great. Jay Cutler has some of those same characteristics, But the difference between Jay Cutler and Peyton Manning was Jay Cutler wasn't winning. So people didn't want to buy with Jay Cutler because he wasn't winning ball games. You can be as critical and you can approach the game from any angle you want. If you're winning games, guys are going to follow you.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a fact. But if you're not winning games, it doesn't matter how nice or how mean you are. It doesn't matter how much film you're watching. It doesn't matter how late you come in or how late you stay at the stadium, how early you come in the next morning. That doesn't matter. If you're not winning games, guys are not going to follow you. So that's a prime example between, like a Peyton Manning and a Jay Cutler.
Well, and here's the point to that, too, just to pound it home a little bit more. Peyton Manning, the year he threw, 30 interceptions in his rookie year, wasn't demanding perfection out of his teammates. Mm-hmm. Once he figured it out a little bit, he could then demand perfection, right? He could grow. I say the same. What do I always say about Russell Wilson? I said it again last night on Twitter. He was in a spot where he could succeed and come along at his pace, where he didn't have to do much or too much. He made plays that commanded respect. He won games that commanded respect. That respect grew. The confidence grew. And what that morphs into 2, 3, 4 years later is a guy now that could say whatever the hell he wants and you'll listen.
Absolutely.
Because he's done it. And so that's just sports. That's coach. That's player. And I think again, we talked about Blake's a great dude. The thing that commanded respect for Blake is two things. But it wasn't good enough to win football games and enough of them and command the complete respect. One is he was a tough son of a gun. Mm-hmm. He was tough, man. He would take hits. He'd play through stuff. And I know this, and you've been in it, but I know this. Nothing gets more respect from teammates in an NFL locker room than playing through injuries because you've all been there. Mm-hmm. So you can relate. And when the quarterback does that, I think that demands respect. And I think that's where he got it. I think it also helped that Blake never threw anybody under the bus. Blake had a ton of excuses around here. No doubt. He did.
Yep.
And he never said it. And that holds value with people. That holds value in a locker room. That holds value in a building. So I think he did have respect. We talked about it a lot. I always go back to this, and I've talked about this multiple times over the last year. The reason he got everybody on board, in my opinion, Blake Bortles, at least from a temporary standpoint, his career changed in the Cincinnati game 2 years ago here in Jacksonville. And it wasn't because of the A.J. Green, Jalen Ramsey fight. Mm-hmm. I think that's what that happened that same day. Yeah, it was. Instead, it was Burfict had called out Bortles publicly. Doug Marrone in the Saturday night meeting said, this is our guy. He's going to go play big tomorrow. He's going to get it done. Whatever he said, something like that. Bortles led them to victory, made key plays, played well in that game, well enough to win. And right there, I think it was this whole attitude change in the Jags locker room. Well, when you have that change and everybody starts buying in and not really worrying about what everybody on the outside says, I think you started getting players defending Blake Bortles. Mm-hmm. Players saying, no, he's our guy. You can say whatever you want about him, but you don't know him. And then what happened is they started winning football games, and then he got confidence in that, right? Yep. He said, all right, guys, these guys aren't ripping me apart. I'm not walking into this building and people are looking at me funny because half of America thinks I suck and half of America thinks I'm just okay. And nobody thinks I'm really good. Mm-hmm. And that wears on you. In your own building, that has to wear on you when you're in front of the offense. But that changed against Cincinnati that one day. And that gave him confidence. And in turn, it gave the team confidence and admiration and a little respect. And what did they do? Yep. He went on and played the best football of his life, and they go to the AFC Championship game. Don't read this the wrong way. I'm not saying that's the single reason why, but I've always put that moment as the biggest moment in why the Jags went to the AFC Championship game and why Blake Bortles hit a level that we hadn't seen yet as a quarterback in the NFL. Now, it all fell apart somewhere in 2018 when everything around him started going bad. He brought back the bad Blake mojo and couldn't get out of it. He just couldn't get out of it. So you see it go the other way, too. And I think we saw that in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles. So this is a big leadership question, but the bottom line is if the guy has confidence and he demands the respect because of his success, well, then people are jumping on board because I think that's the big Allen Robinson problem with Blake back in that training camp. Yeah. You know what happens? If Blake isn't playing well, Blake is starting to cost Allen Robinson money in a contract when his contract's ending. That's real-world stuff in the NFL. All works together. So you've got to be playing well is my point.
I'll never forget, and you kind of brought up a great point, but being tough, I mean, that can have a major factor on your team. I'll never forget back in 2010, It was my first year in Jacksonville. Dave Garrard went down with an injury, and we had Trent Edwards. Remember Trent Edwards?
I do.
So we brought in Trent
People
Edwards.
around here remember him as Captain Checkdown.
Yeah, so, okay, it was whatever it was, man. I think he came from Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
But I'll never forget the first game that Trent Edwards took over for Dave Garrard, the first game that Trent Edwards started. It was like a 3rd and long, and nobody was open, and Trent went for the first down and knew he was going to get hit, and literally just lowered his – he's not a big guy either.
No.
Dude just lowered his shoulder and took on a double team, got absolutely depleted, but got the first down. And I remember that play, and the whole side was going nuts, man, because like Trent's got in the guy's face and said first down and everything. But I'll never forget at halftime, we're sitting in the locker room, and I would probably count 5-6 defensive players went up to Trent Edwards like, hey, man, we're going to roll with you. Like, we have your back, because that was awesome. Like, that's what we needed to see. Because sometimes, I don't want to call quarterbacks prima donnas, but, they're in training camp. They're in the red jerseys and stuff like that. You don't know how hard it is sometimes to be a quarterback in the NFL. But especially on game days, man, you're taking that brutal beating. And like I said, Trent Edwards went for that 3rd and long and got the first down and sacrificed his body. That's something you can roll with.
It can change on a play, but also it can go the other way if you don't play well consistently. One last thought on this in terms of leadership. You brought up Jay Cutler. Mm-hmm. I've been told by multiple people that have played in Chicago that the view of Jay Cutler is not as accurate as people say.
Not at all.
I've got people that I know that have played with Jay Cutler and that will defend him and say he's not nearly as bad a teammate as everybody says.
So I think what the national synopsis is the fact that Jay Cutler played like he didn't care. Like he didn't care about the Chicago Bears, and that couldn't be any farther from the truth. It's like I said, the dude put the work in. The dude held everybody to a higher standard. He demanded that his players be accountable, but the fact was he wasn't winning games. And when you're not winning games, well, the team can kind of fold in on itself.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Well, we know that can happen here in Jacksonville. It's happened quite a bit to various quarterbacks. We'll see who the next one is. We're not done talking about quarterbacks, by the way. We got one joining us at 4 o'clock. We'll also hear some negative thoughts about the Foles acquisition, potentially. But coming up next, let's talk a little NBA. Kuz is itching. He can't wait. He's got to talk a little Lakers. Drive and Dish podcast only comes around once a week. We got to get a little NBA in here.
Let's do it.
LeBron.
Oof.
I'm not sure I even like LeBron these days. And I usually love LeBron. What's going on with these people? I don't like anybody anymore.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, man. Not looking good for the Lake Show.
No.
Not good whatsoever.
Hey, let's hoop it up. Swish a 3. Dunk on Lane.
Nah, that's not happening.
Next on ESPN 690.
Built with the biggest names in sports, all on one radio station. Golick and Wingo, Dan Lebitard, Stephen A. Smith, and Action Sports Jack's Brent Martineau every afternoon. Plus, Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And major breaking news in sports when it happens. Make us your only button for sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. The all-new ESPN 690.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Whether you're buying a new or a pre-owned vehicle, your experience should never be anything less than exceptional. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks. And if you're considering a new or pre-owned vehicle, I encourage you to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. I'm so impressed with how they treat their customers. They're good people. No one wants to be haggled or pressured at a car dealership. And my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville understand that. And they emphasize a no-risk, no-pressure approach. Their team will get you into the right car at the right price. And if for any reason you are not completely satisfied with your new or pre-owned vehicle, you can bring it back to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville within the first 7 days for your money back. Take it from me. We drive a Hyundai in our family, and I encourage you to visit JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com to schedule a test drive. And you, too, will be impressed at how they treat the customer. Exceptional service at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. When you get to the Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville showroom, make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau, and if you're looking for something to do for dinner tonight, I've got an idea. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years, fresh ingredients every day. That's what Renna's Pizza was built on, and that's what Renna's Pizza delivers. A menu to satisfy the entire family tonight. Fantastic pizza, fresh salad, and Italian favorites like lasagna. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Be a part of the family and get dinner tonight at Renna's Pizza.
The value and the quality are unmatched, definitely unbeaten in the jewelry industry.
Meet Diamonds Direct's Ken Holman, who has spent a lifetime in jewelry stores but says no place even comes close to Diamonds Direct.
Having been in the industry for 40 years now, there is no other company that can duplicate or do what we do for our customers when it comes to value and when it comes to customer service.
It starts right at the source. Diamonds Direct's unique advantage is the ability to cut out layers of middlemen in the diamond process, from the mines to the showroom.
Our starting cost just from the beginning is so much less than a typical retail jewelry store. So we're able to pass that amazing savings on to our customers.
So you always get a bigger, better quality diamond at Diamonds Direct. And you can also get her that one-of-a-kind ring from top designers like Tacori, Verragio, Henry Dossi, Simon G, and dozens more.
It's just incredible how many amazing lines.
Diamonds Direct, combining unbeatable value, unrivaled selection, and uncompromising quality. Get store hours and directions at diamondsdirect.com.
The spread and that college-style offense. Listen, in 3 years, you might see the Big 12 be run by the NFL because it's the exact same kind of offense that's going on here.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with our friend Brent Martineau on ESPN 690.
What's the magic whiteboard say?
Well, after hearing you
did you hear
3
my
times
resume
in a
tape,
row,
by the way?
Yeah.
That was my resume tape that last break.
You know, I decided to put a little 3-piece Brent Martineau coming at you. Little 3-piece. No big deal.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know how that happened. How does it happen, Kuz, right? It gets kind of like automated?
Well, yeah, so there's people that schedule that stuff for us.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I don't think they're looking at who the voice of the actual commercial or whatever it is.
Probably should.
So
I just pulled off a 3-peat.
You did, man.
Back to back.
I'm just glad the Pints and Pucks is over with. No, I'm just chilling in the cut. I'm just hanging out.
Can we just throw that back in there?
It's still in here. I'll play it.
Really? People are going to hear it? Yeah, we're past it.
Just to separate my voice, at the very least.
All right, fair enough.
Go out and sell something, Austin.
I'm trying. Oh, man, I'm a little busy right now, and I'm not getting paid, so what do you want me to do? You're asking a lot of me.
That was funny, though. We're like, is this again? Is this the same? Wait a minute.
A little 3-piece Brent Martineau.
Back to back, that 3-point shot from downtown.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. If you're not already sick of me, you're sick of me now. That's for sure. So did you say you went double whiteboard?
Yeah.
What was the first one? You erased it so quick I couldn't see.
Well, because I figured it was kind of a video game reference, so you wouldn't really get it. But I said, so there's a new, Kuz, you could probably back me up here. There's a new Metal Gear Solid movie in the making, possibly. And Oscar Isaac threw his name in the ring for Snake. And I said, I think Gary Oldman would make a pretty good Revolver Ocelot.
What the heck are you guys talking about?
Your thoughts about Revolver Ocelot?
I don't even know what word you just said.
Revolver Ocelot.
I know those games. I never ended up playing that one. No.
I bet you didn't.
I'm excited, though, the Halo TV show that's coming.
Nope. Not talking Halo on my show. Hey, if there's any callers out there want to talk about some Metal Gear Solid, feel free to call into the show. We'd love to have you.
No, don't.
No, don't. We won't pick
just
up.
shut it down real quick.
Tweet it in.
Tweet it in. All right. Tweet it in. Metal Gear Solid. Tweet it in.
But if you want to talk sports, you can call 904-362-9901. I have to put a capper on something. What are you playing right now, Kuz? Is it still the same game there?
Apex
I'm
Legends. Telling you, man.
Mm-hmm.
So is it good? Is this better than Fortnite or just a refresher and something different?
I'd say it's, well, I guess it depends on what you're into. You know what I mean? Like
What is it? Are you killing people in the game?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
But you do that
how could it be different than what I'm into?
Because it's like cartoonized, and this is, I mean, like what kind of video game vibe do you like? Like this is more realistic in a way. It sounds weird, but like,
excuse me,
more realistic than Fortnite. It actually
Apex Legend. Whoa,
it looks more real.
Okay,
is what I'm saying.
I mean,
and if you're into
blood?
Sure.
No, I don't think they necessarily show blood. No.
Because that was the big thing with the kids. That's how Fortnite got the kids.
Yeah.
Moms and dads said they're not blood and groups, so then you're
and they're
all right.
dancing and
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the dances.
Mm-hmm.
By
it's
the way,
all in good fun.
My nephew, my sister was in town, and my nephew's 9, about to be 10, and my niece was in town. But my nephew is playing Fortnite, and I don't know if 9's too early to play Fortnite or not. I'm not sure.
No, that's probably fine.
He will just break out in the dances, like wherever he is.
Yeah,
and he's got no shame at all. I'm like, dude, know you look like an idiot right now.
Back when I was,
and he's like, doesn't matter,
dude. Actually, Kuku's go ahead because I actually have a pretty funny Uber story involving Fortnite, but we'll see.
When I was younger,
by the way, Chase, I didn't just call you an idiot. I'm just kidding.
Kind of did though.
Yeah. Oh man, no, but when I was younger, it was you snapped your finger like you were actually like packing a dip can, but nobody ever did. We were like middle school, but that was like the thing. That was
yeah.
And I can still do it. I don't know. I never dipped once in my life, but I can still do that for whatever reason.
Yeah, listen, there's cool stuff. But this one, like, I know it's the celebrations in sports. Like the Red Sox kind of made it cool, and now others have done it.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, but I mean, he literally is walking around and doing, and there's a couple of them like I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Like Ty plays a bit, but he doesn't do that. Like he's just not breaking out dancing. Okay. This guy, he's awesome, and he doesn't mind breaking out dancing and anywhere. It's just funny. It's amazing. That's what got me about that game is just it took me months to figure out that these things were from a game.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't. So wait a minute. So you've got a shooting game combined with. That's good for all different ages. People 40 years old are playing it. People 9 years old are playing it.
Yep.
And then on top of that, there's like this myriad of dances that comes out of it. What a bizarre trio, right?
Oh, and on top of it, they're going to charge you 99 cents for a new one, and that's where the money's made.
That's where the money's made. And he spends it.
Do we have time for a quick Uber story?
We always have time.
Around Fortnite quick. So this is probably about a year ago. I go to Jack's Beach and I pick up this couple. I probably put them around my age, 30 years old or whatnot. They're either married or they've been together for a long time because you can kind of tell they're getting on each other's nerves a little bit. But I scooped them up. I picked them up at the bar like around 8 o'clock, taking them back past the bridge on Beach Boulevard, past like the boat landing and whatnot. So I'm driving them, and the whole time, this guy's wife or whatever, fiance, girlfriend.
Significant other.
Yes, his significant other was just going off about, I can't believe we had to leave early so you can go play Fortnite. You're such a loser. You're such a, literally like chastising. I'm talking like, I mean, at first it was funny. But like 10 minutes into the car ride, she's still going at him. I'm like, I kind of feel bad for this guy. Like, okay, so I kind of feel bad for this guy a little bit. And so she's going back and forth. Like, I can't believe you're such an embarrassment. My friends, we had nothing in common with you. Like, why am I even with you? So like, mind you, I'm just riding in the front, just not saying anything. I'm just kind of taking it all in. So the car is deathly quiet, and it is awkward now. Like the guy hasn't said anything. He's a beaten man. He's probably questioning what he's doing with his life. And all of a sudden, because I'm a big Fortnite player too, I turn back and I go, "Sup, dude? What do you go to Anarchy Acres or where do you go get your guns at?"
Where you drop it at?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, dude. So where you dropping at Anarchy Acres? And what are you going? Are you going to Tomato Town? And all of a sudden, his girl or whatever is like, "Are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And I swear to God, like the dude lit up so like he had the biggest smile on his face. He's like, "Dude, you play Fortnite too?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I play Fortnite." So we talked Fortnite another 20 minutes, and his wife or whatever just sat there in the back seat.
They're now divorced.
Oh
update.
Yeah, for sure.
By how much video games have helped in divorces or troubled marriages? Seriously.
No, for
probably
sure.
a lot, yeah.
By the way, you better hope that he had the Uber app where the tip comes into play potentially.
Yeah,
and she did it.
Needless to say, I think it was actually her app, so I'm sure I got like a 1-star rating or something like that. A
couple of thoughts on our last conversation. First of all, Morocco Shrine Center, home to Nirvana concert, my senior prom, and MMA fighting. Versatility, says Meta World Crazy.
There we go. I like
Pretty
it.
Good.
Yeah.
Real MBB. I'm with Brent talking up Foles right now. Why can't it work out in Jax? It's one hell of an opportunity being presented to them. That a baby, Matthew. That a baby. Of course, there's a rebuttal to that. Bill McNeil. I'm telling you, I'll tell you why people like me feel the way we do, because Super Bowl MVP or not, Foles feels like a Band-Aid on a gushing wound. Well,
whoa.
Yeah, I mean, Jags have been a gushing wound, kind of like gushing like the St. Johns River at times over the last decade. And Matthew did respond, and maybe it is, but it could be a 3 to 4 year Band-Aid, which potentially it could be in Jacksonville. So back and forth we go on Foles. Didn't really even get to the NBA. Quick thought before we'll go more on. We were Fortniting it.
Yeah,
it's my fault.
Yeah, it kind of is. But let's quick thought on the Lakers right now.
Yeah,
and tease ahead for a couple of segments. We'll get back onto the NBA and the Lakers. But your thoughts, Kuz?
One of the debates we were having on the podcast is if they can actually win 35 games this season. Last night was the one that we thought was like they needed to win, and I feel like most people agreed with they needed to beat the Clippers last night. It didn't happen. So now it's like I think they might have like 3 more winnable games in the schedule. They've got the 7th hardest schedule in the league right now till the end of the year. So I question, can they win even 35?
Did you see Kyle Kuzma push LeBron last night to play defense? Did you see that, Brent?
I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah. So they're in transition, and there's a guy wide open for the Clippers, and Kuzma literally pushes LeBron towards his man. Very ballsy move there, but hey, I guess he's a young kid. He has some fire in him. Good for him.
Wow, they're also like, all right, LeBron, you tried to get rid of us. We'll take over this team a little bit too.
No, for sure. I mean,
there's an element of that exists. There's an underbelly of it that still exists.
Yeah, I'm convinced that they have the talent to win. It's just the fact that when Magic came out and said that they're trying to get Anthony Davis and all the players that were on the market, on the trade block came out, those players got ticked off. It'd be like if Brent went to Senderic Marks and said, listen, Austin's bombing the show. Let's bring you in here instead. And if I found out about that, Brent, I would not be a happy camper.
All right, hang on. Send Derek on line 1.
Do it, Brent.
Let's
I dare
call
you.
him up. Let's see. All right,
I dare you, Brent.
Let's dial him up.
See
we should get him on the
how
show.
I respond then. Wrestling Wednesdays nonstop.
More to come on ESPN 690.
Hey all, this is Allie McDeal. Are you still looking for entertainment in the greater Jacksonville area? Head to a Best Bet location, grab a cocktail, immerse yourself in live poker action, and enjoy the best hand-rolled sushi in town. Take a break from the poker tables, enjoy watching the Greyhounds race live, or participate in simulcast wagering from around the country. Also, try your hand in one of their widely popular games like Pai Gow, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, or 3-Card Poker. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. I'll be looking for you at both Best Bet locations. Come play.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take 1 capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to Walmart and get Ageless Male Tonight.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Duke superstar freshman Zion Williamson out a 4th straight game tonight against Wake Forest as he continues to recover from a knee sprain. 7 Eastern, ESPN TV. With the NFL franchise tag deadline passing, Giant star safety Landon Collins set to become a free agent. The team informing him a couple of hours ago it wouldn't tag him, allowing him to hit the open market. GM Dave Gettleman recently said the cost to tag Collins was too high. The highlight on the NBA schedule tonight, Golden State, Boston, Celtics, 5th in the East, 1-5 out of the All-Star break, and their struggles likely continue tonight, in the opinion of Brian Russillo, host of the Russillo podcast.
We have 60-plus games of evidence that they can't figure out their roles, and I still think there's a chance they change their rotation. This is a group that we've never seen do anything as far as their resume is concerned. There's no real accomplishment here other than Kyrie with LeBron back in Cleveland. So I'm so down on the Celtics right now, especially since the All-Star break.
Ryan on Get Up. Warriors guard Klay Thompson, knee injury out tonight. Forward Andre Iguodala will play despite a back issue. Coverage 10 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Discover Card alerts you if they find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. It's free for card members. Just sign up online at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, it's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, and that means I hope you're having a good day. You're probably an hour or so away from getting out of work. If you hate your job, that's a good thing. If you love your job, it's still a good thing. And it also means it's happy hour horn time.
Hit it. Grab a drink, get a shot, and tip your bartenders if you're at a bar on a Tuesday. More power to you.
Or God bless you.
Or God bless you. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Welcome back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane, and Coos is here as well, as always. Hey, let's stay on the LeBron topic for a moment. So you were saying you don't think they could get to 35 wins, and what I do wonder about that is, will other teams that are already in the postseason relax a little bit, rest some players, getting ready for the preparation of the postseason, where they could, the Lakers maybe could take advantage. Now, LeBron says that he is going to play this thing out. There are some people suggesting LeBron should just shut it down if they're not going to make the postseason. That would be a really, 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 really bad look.
I agree. I think even LeBron mentioned, if I'm healthy, I'm going to play. And the NBA is already going through the problem with Anthony Davis, where he's not playing in fourth quarters. And the other game, they put him in for the very last play of the game, which is kind of like, almost even worse in my opinion. That's kind of, now you're poking fun at it. So, I don't understand what I guess LeBron was hoping for with the Lakers. Personally, I didn't think the young core was going to get him there to begin with, but now that they know that they're technically out, and this was brought up on one of the ESPN shows earlier today, was everyone else other than LeBron on that team has no inspiration to play well, because you'd assume Luke Walton's gone. You assume most of the young core's gone. Rondo's on a 1 year. Like, all these guys are going to be out. Really, what are they playing for at this point?
Yeah, it's a good question. And on top of that, again, they're 30-34, so trying to get to 35 wins over the last 18 games could be tricky, even though it doesn't sound obscene to be able to do that. But I think this doesn't feel like he came to L.A. to say, hey, we need to rebuild this. This might be a tough year. And said, we're not going to make the postseason. We're just going to be awful. And then, bam, next year we'll be good. I don't even know if there's a quick fix for the Lakers. I mean, this might be an epically bad decision for LeBron James.
And this is my question I want to ask both you guys, is the fact that, so obviously there's some plan in place hopefully for next year. I think Magic Johnson has a couple tricks up his sleeve. But my question to you guys is, does LeBron still have that luster? Like, do players still want to go to L.A.? I mean, so being in L.A. obviously helps out a lot too. It's an interesting city. Obviously players want to go there. But does playing with LeBron, is it still intriguing as it was, 5 years ago? Like, are players willing to sacrifice where they're at, maybe take a pay cut to go play with LeBron?
And this is where I think MJ and LeBron are different, where MJ was the scorer. He's going to be the guy that's going to get the ball through the hoop, where LeBron, he's kind of an all-around. He's going to score, but he's also going to grab rebounds. He's also going to get assists. So in that aspect, I think players do want to go play with him because, yeah, they know this guy has a track record of being able to get them some assists and play, and I think that's why Anthony Davis, even with all this, I have a feeling he still ends up out there.
All right, more NBA talk coming up in just a little bit. Right now, we'll be glad to be joined by a quarterback from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's been a lot of quarterback talk in Jacksonville really forever. But really the last couple of months. But right now we're joined by a guy that's new to the Jags roster, Alex McGough. Played at Florida International, and I think he's down in South Florida right now checking us out on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau along with former Jags player Austin Lane here. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. What about this whole thing with Jacksonville? How did it come about for you? You got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, spent some time there as a 7th-round draft pick. How did this relationship with the Jags come about?
Well, I spent the whole season on practice squad in Seattle, and after the season, my agent was getting a lot of calls from teams, and we just wanted to kind of see what was out there, and an opportunity came with Jacksonville, and I kind of jumped on it. I thought it was a great move for myself and my future.
Well, how do you look at things right now in terms of you're not really able to do too much this time of year? Off-season conditioning will get going in April, and then OTAs and the rest of it, where then you can become a little bit more familiar with things going on inside that building. But heck, we don't even know what's going on. I don't think they know what's going on over these next couple of months from a quarterback roster standpoint. How much are you watching everything from Blake Bortles and his future here to potentially a Nick Foles or a young QB in the draft? I mean, I know you have to see all this. What's your take on how you observe it from now a guy that's on that roster as a QB?
I think you just observe it as, there's going to be obviously guys that are there, and there's going to be guys coming in, either, a bigger name or a draft pick, but it's open. It's you got to go in and fight for your spot, and that's all I want. I just want an opportunity to show what I got and make a 53. Because that's at the end of the day, that's what you want to do, and you want to be a part of something, and you want to help the team win. So I think I saw the opportunity of it being a chance to fight and a chance to go in and compete, and that's what I want.
Hey, what's up, Alex? This is Austin Lane here. Listen, man, I wanted to ask you. You're a big proponent of meditation, and I didn't get into meditation until after my career in the NFL. I felt like it really paid because I actually do MMA. I do professional MMA, and it's helped me a lot with fighting and whatnot. Take us through like your whole meditation beliefs and things like that, and just how has it helped you play quarterback?
Yeah, well, I actually just started it kind of probably like during training camp of last year, going into my rookie season, and I struggled, a little bit at the beginning, and I just thought my head was kind of just not right, and I wasn't thinking straight. So my quarterback coach kind of introduced me to it, and I just started kind of doing it at night. Right before I went to sleep, I would just kind of turn all the lights off and just kind of sit there. And I wouldn't lay down. I didn't want to fall asleep. I just wanted my mind to be completely clear. For however long that, I felt like I was good and my mind got back to neutral, whether I had a good day or I had a bad day. I always wanted to clear my head of that day, just so I could go into that next day with a clear mindset and have a mindset, that tomorrow's going to be better than yesterday because it's tomorrow. So I think just kind of just clearing your head and just sitting in calmness and silence and not even trying to think about anything, just trying to think of nothing. And it's helped me so much. It's kind of helped me stay more relaxed and kind of not look at everything as one, just kind of separate each thing and say, okay, well, this is what happened here and this is why this happened. And, just to get better from that. And it's helped me so much as far as just, more relaxing and just taking each individual, thing that happened in that day as an individual thing, not a group thing. So I think, it's helped me definitely, in everything in my life, not just football. So I'm really glad I started doing it, and I'm going to, continue to do that.
Very cool. We're here with Alex McGough, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. Listen, I wanted to ask you, when I was getting drafted, I was anywhere from a third-round pick to an undrafted free agent. From kind of what I did some research with you, it said anywhere from a fifth-round pick to anywhere from an undrafted free agent. How nerve-wracking was it sitting through the whole draft process and whatnot? Were you watching it on TV or just kind of, not follow it that much? Like, what was your draft process like?
Yeah, the first 2 days I tried to just almost not even watch it. I kind of tuned in the second day, but the first day I kind of just followed on my phone. I kind of wanted to get away from it. But that third day I went. I had I wouldn't say a party, but I had some of my closest friends, my quarterback coach, people that I trust, all my family was there, and we kind of just got together and just kind of sat there, by the TV. There's a lot of tension going on. Every time my phone rang, it could be just some random person calling me. Everyone got quiet and stared at me, and it was kind of an awkward day, and obviously until I got a call from, John Schneider, and everybody went crazy. It was probably one of the best feelings, of my life, because you work so hard to get there, and everybody knew that there, and they kind of all felt that for me, and it's one of those things you just don't forget, what you felt like and how you felt, and so everybody that was there kind of just, we all got together, we all just hugged, and we said a few prayers, and just said we had work to do, and this wasn't the end.
Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane here on ESPN 690, along with Alex Magoo, Jaguars quarterback. Spent time in Seattle last year on the practice squad, drafted 7th round by the Seattle Seahawks. Let me ask you about that experience. What did you learn year one in the NFL, and really from an organization that seems like they've got their stuff together, and also Russell Wilson, being around Russell Wilson? How much did just that whole experience help you learn about what it might take to be a quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, I learned so much, coming from, my college, I was a lower Division I, it wasn't really a pro style offense. So I had to come in and basically learn to be in a huddle. I had to learn everything. And Russell's one of the best to ever do it. So it was great to just kind of sit there and watch him do it and watch how he operates and everything like that. And also during, OTAs and training camp, I had Austin Davis, and he was actually with Brian Schottenheimer in L.A. back when they were there. And so he knew the offense well, and he helped me, a tremendous amount. And the quarterback coach, Dave Canales, helped me. He was really my right hand. He kind of just sat me down and just tried to explain everything the best way he understood it. And, I learned just an incredible amount, because they brought all the practice squad with them to every game, away game, home game. And I was in every meeting, and I just got to sit there and kind of just sit back and learn and see how Russ, studied the game plan, see how he did it, and see how they, he broke everything down, by first down, second down, red zone, however, he did it. It was really cool, and I learned a lot of, veteran tips, I guess you could say, veteran moves and how he did everything, and the way he took care of his body was another big thing that I took away from it. And, all in all, Russ is a really good guy. He helped me, as much as he could. And, I thank him, a lot for that. And everybody that was there was just such a good organization to be in. They all cared about everybody. It didn't matter if you were on the 53, the practice squad, the janitors, they cared so much about every person in that building. And it showed, I think, with how everybody acted toward everybody. And definitely enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, it looks like they've built a fantastic culture out there in Seattle. Alex Magoo, Jaguars quarterback, joining us right now. I always wonder this. You said you had a lot to learn coming from different systems going to the NFL. Did you learn from last year that, hey, I'm a 6'3" guy, 220. I can throw the football. I can play in this league. I mean, I might have to still develop a bit, but give me a chance. I mean, is that kind of the mentality of a player like you that gets drafted in the 7th round, knowing that you won't get a ton of chances when the lights are on, but saying, hey, when I do, I can do this thing. I fit in. I've got the skill set to do it. Do you almost have to remind yourself of that a bit?
Yeah, that's my belief. All I need is a chance, and then it's over. So I just think, the preseason games, I went out and did my best, and obviously, teams like that because, had, a bunch of teams calling after the year. And, but yeah, you do have to remind yourself that, because the season's long and, you're on the practice squad and at some points you don't seem like you're even a part of the game. And it's tough to remind yourself that. And like I said, Seattle was such a great organization that you felt like you were a part of it every second of the day. So it was almost easier, being there and everybody around you was positive and made sure you knew that you were helping this team win and the success of the team. So it was almost easier than I expected, but there were some weeks where you had to sit yourself down and say, hey, look, if something happens, I can do this. I'm ready to go. And you just kind of say, look, here's what I did in the preseason. I got to just go out there and do it again. And it's fun almost because I've never, been in a situation where I wasn't playing. So it's kind of like you have to train yourself that while you're training yourself how to be a NFL quarterback. So it's kind of like you're fighting two different things, but it was awesome to learn. And every time that something would come up, there were so many people in the building that I could talk to and you could go to and they would be right there for you.
Alex, I'm kind of curious, man. So, you didn't go play at the Combine. You didn't go meet with the coach and stuff like that. But I assume that you talked to some scouts and whatnot, whether they came to your school, you maybe took some visits and stuff like that. I wanted to know, did any scouts ask you about your sleeve tattoo that you have? I mean, was that kind of a red flag for any teams? Because obviously being a quarterback, it's kind of a double standard, So did any teams bring up your tattoos at all?
Actually, yeah. I know Seattle did. I know the Patriots did.
Of course.
That's just the two that I know like 100% because we had like kind of extensive talks on it. But I don't think anyone, particularly cared that I had a sleeve, but they just kind of wanted to know why and what each one meant and, all of that. We got kind of into details about it.
Sure.
But, it was just something they kind of talked about. You're hearing all the weird Combine questions that people are getting, and I guess that was mine.
Alex Magoo, Jaguars quarterback with us. We're going to let you go, but I got to ask you, Butch Davis, obviously down South Florida, big deal. What was it like with Butch?
One of the best people, that I know. He cares so much about his players, and I wouldn't even say they're his players. I truly believe that he thinks that we're, his family and his extended family, and that, that's how much he cared. He came in and, as me being a senior in his last, my last year and his first year, what he did, for that program and the things that he did, it was incredible. And, he put his head on the line for us so many times to get more money and to get more, people of the game and, whatever he could do to help us win, he did it. And one of the first things he said, and I'll never forget, is he said, I'll never ask you to do something that's not for the goal of winning. And, I felt like he meant that. And whatever he did, I thought was, to win. And whatever he told me to do was only because he knew what it took to win. And, it was just incredible what he did for me as a person and the whole team. And what he's still doing now, and my brother plays at FIU, and I couldn't be happier for him because I know what a great coach Butch is. And, I'm excited for the future of FIU.
All right. Lastly, that's pretty good stuff. You probably played with some Jacksonville guys at FIU, I'm assuming, too.
Farrell McKeever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There you go. You mentioned Jaguars. I was thinking some actually Jacksonville guys that end up Jacksonville from the city, but I'm sure that went down at FIU too.
One of my best friends from Jacksonville.
Who's that?
Sam Medlock.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Fletcher.
Fletcher.
So there you go. You got somebody to hang around with if he's still around here. But this is cool for you because you're a Tampa guy, went to school at FIU, and now you're playing some pro football in Jacksonville.
There it is.
Good luck to you. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes a little bit and how this handicaps over the next week and couple months. I'm thinking if I'm you, I'd probably prefer the Jags get Nick Foles because that's the veteran QB, and then you can be kind of the young QB and make that 53-man roster. Sound about right?
I think the organization will do what they want to
do. Very well said. Hey,
Smart
good luck
move.
to you, man. We'll see you when everything starts up, probably in April. Definitely in OTAs in May.
That sounds good, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, Alex Magoo joined us, putting him on the spot right there. But what do you think from his perspective? I would think if he, these guys intrigue me because he is seriously going to get very few opportunities. So I don't even know how they judge these guys and grade these guys in practices because, again, I mean, there's not much of a thought about it. Seattle thinks something of him, put him on the practice squad. Jags thinks something of him, sign him off the practice squad. But where does that land you? It's got to land you, I think, in some pretty good show and tell moments, hopefully in the preseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It all depends because obviously during the regular season, a lot of teams don't carry 3 quarterbacks. A lot of teams will carry 2 quarterbacks. So the preseason is definitely his time to shine and whatnot. Man, it's crazy because, like, from my perspective, playing defensive end, there's always that shot that you could have a really good preseason game. You could go up the depth chart a little bit because you always have a chance to start, usually, depending who's in front of you. But, when you're talking about like the second quarterback or the third quarterback position, that's always a hard thing because, if Foles comes in, Foles is going to be the starter. And, that happened a little bit, too, when we brought, Aaron Campman. And, it was evident that Aaron Campman was going to be the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. But then, of course, Aaron Campman got hurt. So, man, it's gotta be a rough spot for a quarterback position. And it's one of those things where you have to be up to date on your P's and Q's because you never know when your number is going to get called.
And this guy would become you get drafted in the 7th round. He's out in Seattle. He's on a practice squad. I mean, listen, let's be honest. Few of us have ever heard of him, unless you follow FIU football. And you just wonder, a guys like this, if given the opportunity, if staying in a system, again, it's not like he's this a lot of times you'll get the undersized guy, right? The 6'1" guy or the Chase Daniels kind of guy that sticks around, but they like what he has, but he might not have all the tools. Well, this is a kid that might have the tools. 6'3", 220. I mean, that's good,
big kid,
right? That's what you want. And see if he's got a strong arm, but if he just matures for the next however many couple years, learns the game. He's learning from Russell Wilson. That's a good starting point.
Without a doubt.
Does Nick Foles come in here and he can learn from a guy who's seen a lot of things, 7 or 8 years of it and experiences, and gets with John DeFilippo, and they all of a sudden feel by the end of training camp that, hey, this guy can be our backup QB. If we're going to go with a young QB, why not this guy?
You never know.
So that part's fascinating to me. And he brought
I'm cheering for him, man. I mean, a dude that's got a sleeve tattoo and he does his, meditation, man. I'm all for that.
There. So. You went to meditation.
He went to meditation. Yeah.
And we didn't ask him what was on the sleeve tattoo.
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, the research I did not tell me that.
Why don't you have a sleeve tattoo?
I mean, this is kind of a sleeve tattoo.
Does that really qualify?
Yeah. This is like
I feel like there's too much
traditional
skin.
sleeve tattoo. Well, so you're thinking like the shaded end part.
Yeah.
What's really the point, though, right? I mean, what do you want me to color it in gray?
I don't know. Yeah.
This is cool. This is a sleeve tattoo, right? You'd call my arm a sleeve tattoo.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Come on, Brent.
I got to get up on my sleeve tattoo definitions.
You have to get up and get a tattoo, first of all.
Yeah.
Still debating on that, but I won the Super Bowl, so I didn't have to.
That's a good point.
I picked the Patriots.
We didn't even go over the Super Bowl bets at all.
No,
you
in
didn't
fact,
say anything.
we didn't say anything, so which means you lost. You didn't have to really do much.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Whatever. I'll take it.
Which is not really cool. That's not good.
Well, if you want to come up with something I have to do, just go ahead and tell me.
Hey, tell me, you just brought up so Campman comes in. He's obviously the starter. He gets hurt. Not that you're rooting for him to get hurt, but there's this funny kind of thing where, he's hurt, but okay, that means opportunity for me.
Well, so you have to remember when I came in 2010, it was Campman and Derek Harvey. So,
I said, opportunity for me.
Well, but I'm saying, but Derek Harvey was still playing as well. So, when Campman got hurt, then it was a mixture between. Who was it? It was me and I think Mintz was here then. So Mintz kind of took over because Mintz had the experience, and then eventually Harvey got benched or whatever, and then I took over Harvey's spot. Which, by the way, dude, don't get me wrong. Harvey's one of the greatest teammates I ever had. I mean, any question I had, he was super cool. He would fill me in on things. So it wasn't like, he was a seasoned vet. He wouldn't help me out at all. I mean, every question that I had, he answered, and he actually went out of his way to help me out, play defensive end. So from that standpoint, I have nothing but respect for Derek Harvey. I know it didn't work out here, but so be it. But it was funny, though, because I think it was week 5 or 6 is when I started to, I was a starter on the defensive line, defensive end. And the way it was set up was I was still a rookie. So I literally had to do my scout team looks. And then after scout team, I had to go run over to the first team and be at the first team defense. So
really?
I didn't get any kind of break whatsoever because Harvey wasn't going to go a scout team, man. Like he
prized pick.
He obviously had a little pride to him. So Harvey wasn't going to do scout team. So Joe Collins like, all right, you have to go play a scout team, then go play the first team reps too. So that was a long rookie season for me, to say the least.
Joe Cullen was Austin!
Something like that.
Austin!
Oh, dude, did you watch the combine? Did you see him doing the drills?
I didn't see it.
Oh, man, I almost you should have saw, I had the shakes a little bit, man, a little PTSD from Joe Cullen, man, because he was shouting on the camera and whatnot. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm not going through that anymore.
We should get Joe to call in sometime.
Yeah, we're all good.
Hey, one last thought about that. And again, Derek, to be clear, I think you're right, unless there's stuff that I didn't know about it. But Derek Harvey, I don't think he was a bad guy.
He wasn't.
The funny thing is you really didn't get to know him because he did the smartest thing anybody's ever done, in my opinion, in that locker room. He did not like to talk to the media.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No. He did not like to talk to the media.
Yeah.
And so he would say, zero. To the media. So he had to go about 3 weeks of that, and then nobody went up to him. I mean, nobody would go up to him and ask him anything because he was actually, you couldn't get anything out of him.
Yeah.
A little bit like T.J. Yeldon. Yeldon did the same thing over the last couple of years. And it's probably a smart move. If you can handle the first month, it's like a diet. If you can get by the first month, you're in. And those guys were, so I don't know if, I never could tell you if T.J. Yeldon was a bad guy or at least from a field perspective. You never really know these guys anyway. But the same thing with Harvey. But I will say this about Harvey. Harvey might be on the list of most forgettable Jags. Not from a bust. I'm just saying you lose. If you go through all the draft picks, people will list draft picks and you'll forget that they drafted Derek Harvey. His career here was so short-lived for a guy drafted in the top 10.
Well, and for being, that top 10 pick, it's like you said, he wasn't really that talkative. I mean, even in the locker room, he wasn't a really talkative guy. The only times he really would talk back in 2010 is when the first Batman movie came out with the Joker.
Yeah.
So Harvey would always quote, from the Joker, he'd quote, he had Heath Ledger quotes or whatever from the Joker. So he always made it happen to say that randomly, which is kind of funny.
Oh, why were the Jags thinking on Derek Harvey? Gosh. Falling and falling.
Hurricane Harv.
Falling and falling. Coming up next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hey, it's Bill with Bill Fenwick Plumbing. I have yet to meet anyone that has woken up in the morning and said, hot dog, today I'm calling a plumber. Usually it's, who am I going to call and can they take care of me today? Yes, we know the stereotype, dirty, smelly, probably late, and more than likely, you don't want him to bend over. If you need a plumber, call Bill Fenwick. See what our Golden Plunger service is all about. Call us or go to BillFenwickPlumbing.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
The 2019 Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio, brought to you by Harrell and Harrell.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have, and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Mark Anajar from the Law Office of Anajar and Levine. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation.
Office in Jacksonville.
It's hard to beat that new car smell, especially when it's a brand new Hyundai. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks, and I think we can all agree there's something to that new car smell you just can't beat. You also can't beat the exceptional service at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. It's a brand new dealership here in town, and my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville live by giving you the most superb car buying experience you can get. No one likes to be haggled or pressured when buying a car. The staff at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville understands this and emphasizes their no-risk, no-pressure approach. They'll help you find the right car for you at the right price. And if you are not 100% satisfied with your new car, you can bring it back to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville within the first 7 days for your money back. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with the limited lifetime warranty that's good anywhere in the United States. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. And make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
If Dell Demps had moved, Anthony Davis as general manager for the New Orleans Pelicans, he would have been fired. You know, you had teams in smaller markets on the phone calling him, imploring him not to capitulate to the demands.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Well, I didn't like this. Kuz said, how much would you charge Austin for personalized messaging? Why didn't he ask me?
Yeah, I mean, Brent does have more Twitter followers than I do.
Well, not only that, I mean, I just did a repeat of commercials moments ago.
That too. Yeah, Kuz, how much would Brent be on Cameo, you think?
Well, that's what I'm trying to look at. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, who's the biggest name on there. I mean, Antonio Brown's probably the biggest, and he's doing 500.
No, there was
there's got to be
one of
bigger
the
than
Caitlyn Jenner's doing it for, I think, 1,000.
Who would want a message from these people?
What do you mean?
Would you want a message?
Do you want a message from Caitlyn Jenner? I can set it up.
No, that's what I'm asking.
Hey, Brent, love the show. Keep up the great work, guys.
So that's what I just put on social media. I said, what would you ask? What would you have Antonio Brown say? If I paid you $500, if I gave the $500 to Antonio Brown.
Yep.
And he could have a personalized message.
Yeah, what would I have him say?
What would it be like?
Easy.
I would say, hey, Brent and Austin love the show, man.
That's what I was going to say.
I want to come to Jacksonville. Send a trade over. Give him a second-round pick.
That's exactly what I was
going
to say. I was going to say, hey, this is Mr. Big Chest here, a.k.a. Antonio Brown. You're listening to ESPN 690 with Brent and Austin, some of the coolest dudes you're ever going to meet. Yeah, something like that.
that was it.
Yep.
That was quick.
Yeah. So I don't know. What is it? It's 30 seconds long? Sorry.
Is that
the
what
one,
it is? Is
the
it
one
30 seconds?
I don't. So I found the video, and I'm not sure if it's all of it, but it's only 5 seconds long.
Well, just play it. I mean, this.
Here's the one he did.
Your birthday is here. Happy birthday. We celebrate you today. Hope your birthday is booming.
Hope your birthday is booming.
It's booming, Mr. Big Chest. No, there's another one where he's doing like a wedding anniversary.
That was awful.
Well, and do you know what's ironic? Did you ever watch the shop with on HBO with LeBron James?
I've seen clips of that show.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about like players kind of doing it, like former players selling out and doing anything for a quick buck. Well, what the hell do you call that? Because that, I mean, is the ultimate form of selling out. You're wishing people happy birthdays, happy bar mitzvahs. You're wishing wedding anniversaries. Like, come on, man. But I guess $500 a pop. I can't hate on it, man. Get your money, but you shouldn't throw stones. You live in a glass house.
I mean, $500 a pop for that. You can say whatever you want about me, but sign me up.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to do it for less, actually.
Can you get me an account going there?
What's that?
Can you set me up an account and we'll get it popping?
Yeah, I'll see. I just need a photo or something. Send me a photo.
It would just be my mom trying to pay so she can actually talk to me because I've never, sometimes I don't call her. So she'll be like, oh, can you please call? I miss you. Something like that.
We're getting, I get First Coast Bubblers. I said on social media, so what would you have him say? First Coast Bubbler says, $495 is your change back, sir.
Okay, so I actually have the full. It was 16 seconds now.
Please play
Let's do it again because that 6 seconds was riveting. So I can only imagine about the other 10.
Happy 38th birthday. And I hear it's your second anniversary wedding. I hear you've been working really hard as a defense attorney, and your birthday is here. Happy birthday. We celebrate you today. Hope your birthday is booming.
There it is.
I mean, wow. Yeah. Hey, by the way, whoever's helping him out with this stuff, make the cue card a little bigger. It was like he was like, I think that says that. Bad handwriting on that? Was that Austin's whiteboard?
I assume you have to
wow. Jeez.
I assume you have to type it into him too. So I'm sure it's like a typed, printed out piece of paper.
I think I saw the video. I never had heard what he had said, but
he's at the pool.
He's at the pool, right? Mm-hmm. But he's looking
into the sun almost.
Yeah. Oh, so you think he just had his phone out like this,
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like out in front of him?
I'm sure.
That is unbelievable.
$500. I would do that.
Blonde mustache and all.
Of course you would do it. Who wouldn't do it?
I would do
I
it.
would do it.
I would do it for
I don't
$1.
fault him for doing it. It's stupid. Like, I can't believe people would pay for it. I'm trying to think of, like, who I would pay for.
It would be cool, though, like for
Yeah,
a
good
fantasy
question.
league. You know what I mean? Like the loser of the fantasy league, you have Antonio
Yeah.
Brown like call in and just heckle him for a little bit.
See, I love that stuff. I'll spend stupid money on,
Yeah.
like, a gag gift or something like that. That's fun. So I could see that. Like, if you wanted to totally... But I'm just trying to think, like, who would say something to me that I'd be like, oh, that was awesome. That they just said, like, I mean, I guess some
Me
people use
every
it.
single day during the ball and falling segments.
Yeah,
maybe.
okay. Good segue. Let's get the ball in right now.
Okay, jeez. I wasn't ready, Brent. Come on, man.
You're not ready for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I teased
now.
it the last segment. Weren't you
All
listening?
right. I kind of.
What's the magic whiteboard? The latest one?
Oh, I said 30 bucks on Cameo. Cut the check. I'm down. Kuz set it up. I'm in.
I'm looking at all the talent now on the site.
Okay, well, find out where I rank with that talent, and then we'll set up a price. Maybe it's like $5, maybe a quarter, whatever. Maybe I'm paying people to send my own Cameo video to them. We'll see. Anyways, ballin'. The North Dakota State Bison, because you have to say the Z. You can't say it with an S. If you say it with the S, you sound like
and you can't say bisons because there's no such thing. Unless
Good
you're
call.
Lipscomb.
Good call.
Who actually uses bisons instead of bison.
Seriously?
Yes.
It's the Bisons?
It's the Bisons. It's the Lipscomb Bisons.
Now I can't stand that school even more. That's unbelievable. I had no idea. Thanks for that little trivia fact.
You'll learn about it in the NCAA tournament if they win it.
Anyways, the North Dakota State Bison, a.k.a. the Iowa Scandinavia Pipeline, were treated to a tour of the White House after winning their 7th national championship in 8 years. Like the Clemson team before them, the players were treated to fast food, even though the government shutdown wasn't going on anymore. But I'm not going to hate on Donald Trump because why? He took my coaching to heart, and he got Chick-fil-A and McDonald's for the North Dakota State Bison. Congratulations, Bison. Once again, 8 years, 7 national championships, not a big deal.
How far is that from where you grew up?
Oh, it's a ways away. It's probably a good 10-hour drive or so. But
I wonder what I would think if you live up in that region, right? And obviously North Dakota, but I'm thinking Minnesota, Wisconsin area. If you're not a Big Ten player, right, or a Power 5 school player, I think there's a mighty draw to North Dakota State given what they've done.
Without a doubt, especially in Wisconsin, because you think about it, in Wisconsin, there's only University of Wisconsin for a scholarship school. Everything else is D3. And granted, Wisconsin has some of the best D3 football in the country. If you ever watch the championship, you always see UW, Whitewater, then Oshkosh are always in the championship. So there is good D3 football there, but the kids that don't want to go play D3 that have scholarship dreams and whatnot, they usually pick North Dakota State. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. It is kind of a pipeline, especially in my school where my old coach, Tim Polasek, used to be the offensive coordinator there. He had Carson Wentz back in the day. And, being from Iowa Scandinavia, he used to recruit some of our high school players over there to North Dakota State. I didn't get invited, unfortunately, because he wasn't there yet. But, hey, I'm not bitter at all. Murray State panned out well for me.
How about this? My balling, I'm back to Bryce Harper. I was sick of him for a little bit.
Oh, we're back.
And now I'm like okay on him now. And I thought this was really interesting. There's a couple things coming out of it. One, he's really balling because, as I said when this came out, the $330 million will be a bargain in the long run for the Phillies. Did you see he sold like a record amount of jerseys?
Oh, yeah.
Right, in the first 24, 48 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And more than like LeBron. And he went to the lake. That says a lot now.
It does.
And that's a good thing for baseball, right? They need the star. This was important for baseball, the more you think about it, to keep him on the East Coast.
Yeah, so we can watch him.
If Trout, Machado, and Harper are playing in California, that would have been a disaster for baseball. I didn't think
Baseball
enough
after
about
dark.
that. Probably
Yeah.
didn't talk about that enough. You're right. Baseball after dark could end up going in the dark. And I think that part was a little bit something I didn't play that up a little bit more than I probably should have. But this East Coast thing's a big deal for Harper, I think. Now you have Judge and Harper on the East Coast. And you got a ton of other stars, Mookie Betts. There's a lot of stars in baseball.
Yep.
But I'm talking about guys that can transcend the sport. And Harper's one. The jerseys say a lot. Also shows how much the Phillies fans care about baseball up there.
Philly is a sports town.
They
Don't
love
get
them.
it twisted.
They
You know?
love
I mean,
them.
it doesn't matter.
I was wondering that, like, where do you think the Sixers fit into the mold? The Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers. Are the Sixers the last one?
Kuz, that's your call there.
Probably. mainly because they've been the one that, in terms of success, they've been the one that was kind of the bottom for a while there.
I know we have Philly fans around. 362-9901, 904-362-9901. Give me the order of your teams. But I think you're right. I think it probably goes...
Eagles are
but I feel like when
Eagles
Iverson
then
played,
Phillies or Eagles then Flyers.
But back with Iverson, I mean, it was all about the 76ers. It really was.
Well, they also had a guy named Dr. J.
Yeah, okay.
But since Iverson, it's been like you had Iggy there. You had Holiday there. So it's like, but you never had like a ton of stars
I understand
like you do now.
It goes through peaks and valleys. I mean, listen, I grew up in New England. The Patriots were there would have been a soccer team that was more popular than the Patriots when I was growing up. I think the Providence Bruins were more popular than the Patriots when I was growing up. And now I think they rival the Red Sox. I don't think they compete with – I still don't think they beat the Red Sox in terms of fandom. Mm-hmm. But think about that. Think about the success the Patriots have, the success the NFL has had, and what I just said there. Now, I guess you could debate me whether that's accurate or not, and I haven't lived up there in a while. I still think the Red Sox take the cake in New England in terms of popularity, but obviously the Patriots, with all their championships, has certainly grown quite a following. But my other part on Harper here, did you see why they went after Harper more so than Machado? Because of the fans. They thought the fans would relate to Harper better.
He's that Philly guy.
Would adore him, would welcome him in more than Machado. And I don't know, again, let's be honest, is that because he's an American player? Is that because he's not considered, like Machado sometimes considered a dirty player?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it many times on this show, and I stand by those comments. I think that's got something to do with it for sure. Yeah. You remember? I remember when he was running to first base in the playoffs and stepped on Santana's foot.
Yeah, that could have been nasty.
Yeah, on purpose. By the way.
All right, so that's ballin'. We got Fallen still to come. At the top of the hour, we'll talk a little Florida State football, and the Nick Foles conversation is always lingering. Here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hear from someone next that doesn't necessarily agree that Foles will be good. And by the way, there's a lot of people in their cars shaking their head. I would say the same thing. It's coming up on the show.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 gets you close to the action.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau, and it's Action Sports Jacks on the road on ESPN 690, live from the NFL Combine in Indianapolis.
With the Rams cheerleaders here in Atlanta, you guys going to go to the aquarium or anything?
Live from the Super Bowl in Atlanta.
With John Franklin Myers, the former Stephen F. Austin Lumberjack, going from 140 man to the Super Bowl, man. I'm proud of you.
Live from Daytona International Speedway at the Daytona 500.
This is ESPN 690.
Whether you're buying a new or a pre-owned vehicle, your experience should never be anything less than exceptional. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks. And if you're considering a new or pre-owned vehicle, I encourage you to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. I'm so impressed with how they treat their customers. They're good people. No one wants to be haggled or pressured at a car dealership. And my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville understand that. And they emphasize a no-risk, no-pressure approach. Their team will get you into the right car at the right price. And if for any reason you are not completely satisfied with your new or pre-owned vehicle, you can bring it back to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville within the first 7 days for your money back. Take it from me. We drive a Hyundai in our family, and I encourage you to visit JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com to schedule a test drive. And you, too, will be impressed at how they treat the customer. Exceptional service at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. When you get to the Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville showroom, make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
As we reach our 67th year of serving the Jacksonville community, we are grateful for all the support we've received since our founding in 1952 at NAS Jacksonville. Today, ViStar still holds true to our military roots and is honored to provide ongoing assistance and financial education and to sponsor and participate in more than 200 events and charities each year. We thank our military and veterans for the sacrifices they've made for all of us and our community for putting their trust in us. ViStar Credit Union. We never forget that it's your money. Insured by NCUA.
Have you always wanted to know a guy in the boat business? You now have a guy. Guy Morrison and his staff at Consignment Boat Sales will help you with selling or buying a boat. Consignment Boat Sales offers a professional and no-hassle way of helping boat owners sell their pre-owned boats and assisting soon-to-be boat owners with finding that quality pre-owned boat. Consignment Boat Sales will help you in valuing your boat, preparing it for market, performing water tests with potential buyers, and finalizing the sale by handling the closing documents. Consignment Boat Sales is looking for quality bay boats, flat boats, center consoles, skiffs, and deck boats from 14 foot to 30 foot. Find them just past the ferry landing on the way to the Mayport Public Boat Ramp. You now have a guy in the boat business. Find Guy at jaxboating.com. That's JAX boating.com. To help you sell your boat or purchase a pre-owned boat, contact Consignment Boat Sales today at jaxboating.com.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
As prescription costs rise, many Medicare beneficiaries are having difficulty keeping up. The Florida Department of Elder Affairs SHINE program may be able to help. SHINE counselors can guide you to money-saving programs, including one that may help pay your Medicare Part D costs. For more information, call 1-800-963-5337 or go to floridashine.org.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And the latest breaking news in sports around the clock. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I saw this today from the Jaguars. Josh Lambo, newly signed contract, doing a hat deal with New Era. Did you see this?
I did not.
With the fedoras and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know. I feel like, see, we do this thing. You're probably not aware of it because you've been like in the dark for years.
What does that mean?
It feels like, I don't know. Okay. I just don't know how much TV you've been watching, and if you have, you better be watching CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Always, starting at 10 p.m. every night.
But did you?
Think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pick a time.
10:30.
But hopefully you were watching at 11:30 in the morning on Sundays during football season.
Sure not.
Countdown to kickoff.
I was doing Uber.
And if you were, you'd notice and know that I am the two-time defending Fight for the Fedora champion.
Okay.
On the show.
Okay.
So we take the staff along with David Garrard. Yeah. And we do picks.
Who always wore that classic hat?
That's how I came up with it.
Okay.
So you remember from the playoff game, that's like that image in the 2007 playoffs that beats the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's got the fedora at the podium.
Yep, that was
so we come
2007 though. It's 2019 now. But all right, keep on going though. Okay, well, so the golden fedora or something.
Well, maybe Garrard and us are a little ahead of the curve because Lambo and New Era are doing fedora.
It's a good point. Well,
but fedoras aren't going out of style. They haven't been. They never will be.
Of his fedora? Is there like a picture of what he's going to release?
I don't know, but all I'm saying is I want a Fight for the Fedora one. I'm a two-time champ.
Okay.
I've got this golden fedora already, but I want the fedora.
And I'm sorry, how'd you get the fedora in the first place?
I should have my own line.
Was it you picked like the winners of of games or whatever?
Yeah, just picks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So is it actually like a fedora that you wear then? Or
well, sometimes we'll break out the fedoras during the segment.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd wear a Jags fedora. I think.
I can't say I look very good in a fedora.
Unbelievable.
Just a bunch of small Jags all over the fedora. I think I'd wear it.
I could see Kuz rock like a fedora and like some Sperry shoes or something like that.
I got Sperry's on right now.
Sounds about right, man.
How about
just spitting every single stereotype?
The market for Antonio Brown. The Raiders have said to be in it since day one. The Cardinals said to be in it. I think Rappaport's latest report is the Broncos. The price is too much, which I told you yesterday, right? The Denver reporter had said Elway doesn't want to get in that game. I think the Jets might also be involved. It's interesting, right? If he goes to the Jets, the Raiders, or the Cardinals, while you could see there's some upside in that, there's also some are they going to win big next year? Like he said he wants to go somewhere to win. They're not going to. That'd be a safe bet, by the way, for Pittsburgh. To send them to any of those three teams would be pretty safe.
Yeah.
If I were the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Arizona is interesting because what if they draft Murray? What if they do exactly what we've proposed on the show a couple times, right? They go trade for Antonio Brown and draft Murray, but put him next to Larry Fitzgerald along with David Johnson. Now that, and you can keep him under, Larry Fitzgerald can babysit him or at least do the best he can to babysit him.
Yeah.
And because I don't know if you want to put a young quarterback in the situation with Antonio Brown that could get volatile. But with Larry Fitzgerald there, you kind of feel safe. So Arizona is intriguing.
Well, it's funny, too. Did you see Larry Fitzgerald kind of called out?
I did,
Antonio Brown? First of all, Larry Fitzgerald, like the most humble human being on the planet, had words for Antonio Brown and basically just saying, hey, man, you played with Ben Roethlisberger. Like, you should be thankful. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald has played with Sean King and, Kurt Warner was good. Derek Anderson, dude, Larry Fitzgerald's played with some, no offense, but some pretty bad quarterbacks.
He has, and that was, I think his comment was more about, outside me up for Ben Roethlisberger,
for
the last decade.
What are you complaining about, man? Look what I've done for the past, 10 years of my career. So I want to ask you, because we haven't talked about it really yet, are you still on board the Antonio Brown train with all the distractions that are still coming in and whatnot? Do you still want him to play for the Jaguars?
Yeah, I do. I would trade for him. Now, again, listen, there's a price. It sounds like if there's a big enough market, the price is going up, and I would be obviously, I wouldn't just throw anything at the Antonio Brown deal, but I will continually say this. There's two thoughts for me about Antonio Brown. And you have to remember, you're putting me in the Jags headquarters where my job might be on the line. And we always talk quarterbacks. We are not talking enough about lack of weapons. We've been saying that for months now. And you fix the weapon problem, and you do it in a big way if you have Antonio Brown, because what that does to D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee, DJ Chark, anybody else on that offense, to have Antonio Brown and the attention he might draw would be fantastic from a Sunday afternoon perspective. The other side of, so you do that for the weapon part of it.
Of course, I mean, there's no question about it.
And the win now part of it.
A talented receiver. We can all agree on that.
And then the other part of it, which I almost lost my train of thought for a second, but I got it back. I rescued it. Can you name me a single player available, draft or free agency, on the offensive side of the football that would change your team more than Antonio Brown?
No, you can't. But people said the same thing about Terrell Owens, too, and how'd that pan out? So I'm saying,
which stop? The one he went to the Super Bowl with Philly?
No, I'm talking about the next stop after that. But my point is this. Even if the guy says, if a new team won't play by my rules, I don't have to play at all, you're still going to bring that guy in. No, don't.
Do you
don't
think
just
Antonio?
That, don't just shrug that
Antonio?
Off,
you believe Antonio Brown?
No, I mean, you almost have to.
This is all posturing on Antonio Brown's part.
Why would he say that, though?
I don't know why he says half the stuff he says, but I do believe that the guy wants to play football.
Mustache. Well, I'd hope so. It's weird his transition in the NFL. I mean, it seemed like he was like a humble guy coming from a small school.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he's still a hard worker.
Chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, chip on his shoulder, and all of a sudden something happened where now we have like this outspoken, like this fashionable blonde mustache, blue dread hanging from his hair. It's just, I'm not really sure what happened to him.
It's today's athlete in a way that he's, in a sense, I think, because the brand is bigger than everything else, and he's buying into that. And on top of that, I think he's still, that chip stays with you even when you've had success, and now especially when he's getting a lot of blame for what went on in Pittsburgh. I think from a principle standpoint, it might not be the smart move, but I think he's still trying to fight his way out of that paper bag of saying, why did you guys cornered me? You said I'm the problem, and you're wrong about that, and he believes he's not, so he's trying to fight his way out. Again, none of it makes sense. What makes sense to me is Sunday afternoon here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I've got a quarterback that needs to throw to somebody other than what they have.
Well, to teams, I mean, dude, he's putting up some red flags. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, who we thought would have been a great spot for him to go play, a team that's a few players away from actually being NFC title contenders. And San Francisco straight out came out and said, we don't want him.
Yeah.
We want nothing to do with him.
I get it.
And that's a team that could benefit from him the most.
Well, I don't know about the most.
Well, one of the top, I'm talking about a team that can bring in a bona fide wide receiver and be dynamic.
And they have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
Again, I just think you're looking at a guy that's got $12 million. $12 million for maybe the best receiver in the game. Again, I'll remind people, he's averaged over the last 6 years, 1,500 yards a year and 12 touchdowns. That's some pretty good stuff. All right, we got to do Fallen.
I'm
going to give you my Fallen first.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. Because I'm going to tie this into a little news topic.
Okay.
Just came out.
Okay.
Full comment. Fallen is potentially Kyler Murray.
Okay.
You see these comments from Charlie Casserly?
I have not.
And I want you to bring you back to either Friday's conversation or maybe I think it was Friday's conversation when I came back from the Combine where he struggled in interviews. Right?
I remember you said that. Yeah, you did.
All right. So here's Charlie Casserly from NFL Network. He better hope Cliff Kingsbury takes him number one because this was not good. These were the worst comments I ever got on a high-rated quarterback, and I've been doing this for a long time. Leadership, not good. Study habits, not good. The board work, below, not good. Not good at all in any of those areas, raising major concerns about what this guy is going to do. Now, people will say we're going to compare him to Patrick Mahomes. We're going to run an offense like Mahomes. We're going to run an offense like Baker Mayfield. But those guys are a bunch of different. Those guys, you never question them about their ability on the board. You never question their leadership ability, their work habits. They were outstanding in those areas. This guy is not outstanding in those areas, and it showed up in the interview.
Dang.
That was the word at the Combine last week, and now Charlie Casserly's sharing those comments. That is big stuff. Is Cliff Kingsbury going to take the chance on that? Is any team going to take a chance on that? Yes, eventually. But it was not good. I'm telling you, Kyler Murray, by the time the draft runs around, while everybody else has him number one and people trading up for him, don't be surprised if it goes the opposite way, which means someone from a perception and public relations standpoint could get a huge bump in terms of where they draft this guy if he does fall. But there are more people than one that think Charlie Casserly's right about this.
It makes me wonder if the Arizona Cardinals are just, bluffing the whole time and just trying to get someone to trade up and be, I don't want to say dumb enough, but, naive enough to take the number one pick from him and try to take Kyler Murray.
Yeah, interesting. You didn't do your following yet. You will when you come back.
Oh, yeah, because it's a sad one, folks.
And we talk Florida State football. Next on the show, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Come with us, Knowles.
This is Golick and Wingo.
NFL insider Adam Schefter is with us. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Coughlin comes out with this statement. Where do you think this is headed?
They're going to be exploring other avenues, with them being one of the most, if not the most disappointing team in football, starting at the quarterback position. They'll start there, and they'll branch out, and I would expect that they'll obviously discuss the idea of moving on from Leonard Fournette, as they will with other disappointing players there this offseason.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
It's time for another shout-out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. If you still haven't taken the first step and made it out to see us, you won't believe the amount of entertainment you're missing out on. For an experience of a lifetime, try your hand in a game of poker and check out our simulcast wagering on greyhounds, horses, and high life from around the country. Did I mention it's the best hand-rolled sushi in town? Check out our website at bestbetjacks.com for more details and information, and head to either Best Bet location. Come play.
There's just something special about a diamond from Diamonds Direct.
I've heard several people say that when they go to a gathering and there's a group of ladies around wearing their beautiful diamond rings, that you can usually tell which ones were bought at Diamonds Direct.
That's Ken Holman at Diamonds Direct.
And part of the reason for that is the quality of the cut. We control the cutting process, so the diamonds that we sell are going to be the top 2 cut grades that are available to consumers.
Truth is, the way a diamond is cut can affect its true value by as much as 50%. So it's no surprise that when Diamonds Direct's owners look at 100 diamonds, they usually only select 5 to sell in the showroom.
It's a great feeling to know that every diamond we sell, the cut is going to be either excellent or very good, and that guarantees a beautiful diamond.
Diamonds Direct, refusing to settle for anything but the most dazzling, most brilliant diamonds money can buy.
You're guaranteed a diamond that was cut properly.
Don't compromise on one of life's most important purchases. Buy with total confidence at Diamonds Direct. Get directions and store hours at diamondsdirect.com.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
Golick, did you know that Gatorade Zero has all the same electrolytes but with zero sugar?
I did know that because I drank some Gatorade Zero after I ran 2 miles at the gym this morning.
2? Please, I ran 3.
Did I mention I also was on a 6 incline?
You didn't, but that's interesting because that's 2 less than I was on.
Were you also running backwards? Because I was.
No.
Gatorade Zero, all the electrolytes with zero sugar, so you can get more out of zero.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, Yankees ace Luis Severino shut down for 2 weeks after an MRI showed he has rotator cuff inflammation in his right shoulder. Skipper Aaron Boone said it's highly unlikely Severino will be ready in time to start on opening day. Warriors guard Klay Thompson out of tonight's NBA showdown against the Celtics with a knee injury. Forward Andre Iguodala will play despite a back issue. Celtics have sputtered out of the All-Star break with a 1-5 record. They're fifth in the East, have fallen way short of expectations, but things can still turn around for Boston, believes ESPN's Doris Burke.
I have been so slow to jump off the bandwagon with Boston, and I believe it or not, I'm still not there yet, and what keeps me on the hook is the talent. I think Boston has shown on too many occasions against too high a caliber opponent that they're capable. Now, you know, what's Kyrie Irving's leadership style in the postseason? We'll see.
Doris Burke on Golick and Wingo. Celtics Warriors 10 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Duke's Zion Williamson with a knee sprain out tonight versus Wake Forest, 7 Eastern on ESPN Television.
Discover Card alerts you if they find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. It's free for card members. Just sign up online at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
Watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
All right, a busy 5 o'clock hour to come. Stay in your lane. On the way, some FSU football talk in just a moment. But before we do that, I got to my balling and falling. You never got to your fallings quickly.
Falling, all right, man. Steroids, Brent.
Oh,
they're
boy.
Everywhere, and they're destroying sports.
I thought we didn't drug test in radio. I'm okay,
baseball,
I thought.
MMA, bike racing, any sport. A Russian athlete did at the Olympics.
Esports steroids.
No, but it's officially gone too far because the world's #1 bridge player, Geir Helgmo, has tested positive for testosterone boosting in the bridge community, is absolutely rocked by this disgrace. I'm more shocked that there's actually drug testing in the bridge community. I'm not sure what bridge even is. I think it's an old game that grandmas play at retirement homes. But it's time to start testing the grandmas, too, because testosterone and bridge, it's like peanut butter and jelly, man, and we got to put an end to it.
All right, well, bridge and cribbage probably go together.
Maybe.
So I thought because you played cribbage, then your the bridge would also be part of it.
Oh, no. Bridge is something different. Yeah. I don't know what bridge is.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's enough of that
talk. Call in and talk some bridge. Call into ESPN 690. No, I'm kidding.
Especially at 5 o'clock. Perfect timing. Now, let's talk football instead at 5. Let's go to Tallahassee. Florida State football. Tumultuous times at times in Tally under Willie Taggart. Be glad to be joined by Tashawn Reed right now from The Athletic, who covers the Florida State football team on a day-to-day basis. Spring practice underway yesterday. Hey, man, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. All right, give us the vibe, because you know what it's like outside of Tallahassee after last year, the disaster that it was, and then, of course, the recruiting where for a second straight year didn't even bring in a quarterback. What is the vibe with what's happening under Willie Taggart in year 2?
I think there's just a constant push overall from everybody, from the coaches to the players, just trying to spread a message of positivity and optimism, which, you know, is kind of hard to get people to buy into after how the season went, but that's what they're doing at this point. I think, you know, especially with how the quarterback situation is playing out, and you kind of mentioned that, it has a lot of people concerned. You know, the way the offensive line looked last year, that has a lot of people concerned. But I think, you know, there is a little bit of optimism coming back along that this team can turn it around and be a little bit, you know, it'll be at least a bowl team again next year. Just about from the first practice, I mean, there were small things, you know, that people made a big deal of, you know, they weren't playing music for the whole practice and that kind of thing. Those kind of, you know, small things or you know, whatever. But just in general, you know, from the press conferences to the way they're interacting on the field, they're just trying to change the direction a little bit, I guess you could say.
Hey there, to Sean Austin Lane here. Listen, so it's like you said, no music at practice. Have you noticed kind of a culture change this year as opposed to last year? I mean, it's only one practice, so it's kind of hard to tell. But are you kind of gathering the fact that maybe they are taking things a little more seriously now because it is such a big season for them to win some games?
Yeah, like you said, it's a little bit early to tell, but I do think that I think that kind of started, last month or January, I should say, when DeAndre Francois was dismissed from the team. It kind of set a message and a tone, I would say, for how things are going to go this year. Even though things may not have gone how they would have liked on National Signing Day, they still kind of already put in that, message that, certain things aren't going to be tolerated and people are going to be held to a certain standard, even if they are the starting quarterback on the team. So I think from that aspect, you can say that it's just a matter of, do you just sustain that, just not only through spring camp, but into the summer and then the beginning of the season. If you lose the first game, lose your first couple games, does that culture change? Does it disappear? Does it go away then? So I think the thing to kind of watch going forward is, do those changes that they've started to make, do they last?
You have a story out today in The Athletic about Tamorrion Terry, who's coming off a big year, shows a lot of promise. I mean, wow. I mean, this guy looks like he's legit, and that can only help James Blackman. What else do they have in the passing game in Tallahassee that has some people fired up?
I think the second best option, I would say, is DJ Matthews in the slot. Last year, he started a little bit behind Nooney Murray, who's trying to get drafted right now, but he kind of came on a little bit stronger than people anticipated. He's kind of known as a return guy, but he started to make a little bit more plays in the actual passing game. So I'd say he's probably next in line. And then beyond that, there's honestly a big opportunity for someone else to step up because they have a ton of young guys at receiver. I believe 9 of their 11 receivers that they have on the roster are underclassmen right now. So it's kind of a bunch of guys kind of bundled together, if that makes sense. And so they're kind of looking for somebody to separate themselves, in the next few weeks and then later on once the season starts.
DJ Matthews, of course, a Jacksonville guy, so we've been keeping tabs on him. He's had some nice moments for the Seminoles, but maybe a bigger role this year, it sounds like, according to Sean Reed, who's with us from The Athletic.
Another thing I wanted to know, too, obviously it's the first practice, so it's hard to tell, but from what I was reading, there were some talkings that there's going to be a 3-4 defense shift this year, where there was actually some defensive formations that were 3-4 in practice. Any truth to that, where maybe they're going to go in a 3-4 direction? Obviously, when it comes to defense in college football, there's different looks, different shades and whatnot. But is this a team that's going to actually go in a traditional 3-4 defense, or is it more of just like a scheme kind of thing right now?
No, I don't think they're going to change it. I think their base is still going to be the 4-3, but what they had was they would have one of the edge rushers kind of stand up and drop back a little bit. But they didn't really drop back in coverage. They would just drop back and then rush anyway. That's something that they did kind of under Jimbo Fisher the year before. They kind of used Brian Burns like that. And even last year, there were rare occasions when they would do it. So they may start using that a little bit more, but I don't see them, becoming a team that all the way flips to 3-4 just because that's something that Harlan Burnett's ever really been.
Well, I tell you what, the defensive side of the ball, all the pressure's off them anyway. I mean, I know eventually it can get back on them, but everybody's talking about offense in Tallahassee. And, I mean, it's fascinating from the outside to me because Willie Taggart, known as a recruiter, known as a good guy. I mean, we were there last August. I'll never forget this part of the Willie Taggart era, and we'll see where it goes. But there was so much excitement last year, Tashawn, when we were there for Media Day in August or late July, whatever it was, with Florida State and these players, and they just loved Taggart, and they couldn't wait for this offense, and they were so excited about it. And, listen, everybody does that with new. I get it. But then for it to flop the way it flopped, especially on offense, and all these different things, I mean, it was just shocking to me to see that dynamic the way it played out over a couple-month stretch. That being said, he brings in new coaches, Kendall Briles especially. Whose offense will it be in 2019? Is it Willie Taggart's? Is it Briles? Or will they somehow try to mesh this thing together?
It'll be Kendall Briles' offense. They made him. They went out as soon as he was hired. They made it clear, he's going to be the primary play caller. They're bringing him in. They're paying him $1 million a year. So they're bringing him in to run the offense. The way he's run it, the last couple of years at Houston and in Florida Atlantic. As far as meshing together, something that Willie Taggart has mentioned a couple times is when he, kind of revolutionized his offense and it kind of became popular in South Florida. one of the people that he learned from the most were Kendall Browse and his dad at Baylor. And so he based a lot of the principles of his offense, the Gulf Coast offense, based off of what Kendall Browse already does. And so even James Blackman yesterday, he said, it's pretty much the same offense. So it's going to be Kendall Browse offense, but it's not going to be dramatically different when it comes to what they actually do. It's still a lot of 11 personnel, spread offense. It's a little bit more balanced than Florida State was last year. But that was also a factor just because they were playing from behind so often. Regardless of, whoever was calling the plays or what system you have, when the offensive line, was as bad as it was last year, it pretty much doesn't matter, what you're calling. You don't have any time at all for the quarterback to drop back longer than a second or two before he's getting hit. The running backs, I think almost all of their yardage the past year came after contact. I think they maybe had 20 yards before contact last year. So when the offensive line is playing like that, it really doesn't matter who you got back there.
Yeah, well, it took me a while to get to it, I know. And by the way, have you ever done an interview where it's taken this long to get to a question about the quarterback? That's coming. Don't worry. But I know people know about the Blackman stuff and everything. I want to get to some of the other things before getting back to Blackman. And before I even do that, I want to get to this offensive line because – this was not a Willie Taggart problem alone. This was a Jimbo Fisher problem, even when he was there. And even when they had some success, this offensive line has not been good in a very, very long time. Now, it was atrocious again last year. The only thing that we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the show, it looks like Florida State has at least numbers. They have people they can roll out there. What's the confidence level, though, in that offensive line that it will be much improved?
Just from the fan base in general, I think they're still a little bit pessimistic because, while they did bring in 6-7 new players, there was only one of them that's one of those, blue chip, 4-star, 5-star type guys, and that's Dante Lucas out of IMG Academy. And so it's kind of like a wait-and-see approach. A lot of 3 or 4 of the guys aren't even on campus yet. And so when I tweeted out the starting offensive line they had there, everybody was freaking out. And it's like, they just have to give it some time. They have some guys that they're picking up to speed, some guys that aren't even on the team or with the team yet. And so that is going to be kind of like a wait-and-see thing. As far as what the team is saying, everybody's going to say, we never lost confidence in their guys. But, at some point you have to look at what they were doing on the field last year. And I think there's going to be a few different faces in the starting lineup just naturally since they lost 2 starters to graduation. But I think there's going to be a lot of change along the offensive line. But I guess we really won't know, if it's gotten any better or not until they start off the season against Boise State.
Yeah, it's just the way it happens, of course. And by the way, that game against Boise State right here in Jacksonville, Florida, to get it going, that'll be a big one for Florida State to get some early momentum in 2019, and really big, it would seem, for Willie Taggart. Okay, now to the QB spot and James Blackman. Isn't it funny, with all the problems they've had at quarterback in the last, say, calendar year, with the recruiting trail, all of that everybody's really talking about, the fan base actually gets, at least from my perspective, the guy they want under center. They were calling for James Blackman under center most of last year. At least that's what I heard. And now they get Blackman, a guy with some experience. How do you think it will work out for James Blackman in 2019?
I think it's set up to have a pretty good year. As I know we just talked about it, but it all kind of goes back to, whether the offensive line protects him a lot, especially with him being, DeAndre Francois obviously took a beating last year, but he's, 15, 20 pounds heavier than what James Blackman is at least.
Yeah, and he's a tough kid, too.
Yeah, and so, but as you kind of said, it was kind of interesting to me just to see how outraged everybody was at the quarterback situation when last season, I can't count how many times I thought, start James Blackman, and now he's starting. And now it's like the world is caving in, So yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it because he's never really entered a season knowing he's going to be the starter like this. Even his freshman year, it's because DeAndre Francois got hurt. Then last year, he was in the running, but then he lost a job and knew that he wasn't going to play. So this year is going to be the first year where he kind of knows he's the guy, because he's the only scholarship quarterback on the roster right now. And so it's going to be interesting to see if that changes. Because pressure, can change things a little bit. Even though he's shown, he's been able to perform in high leverage situations, and he got him to a bowl game and actually won a bowl game. Things can be a little bit different coming off of missing the first bowl game in almost 40 years, and with everybody looking for some kind of improvement from Willie Taggart in his second year. So this would be interesting to see, but everything's there for him to have a good solid year.
Speaking of improvement. Talk about Cam Akers a little bit. A guy that came in last year, kind of underachieved a little bit. What's the hype around him this year? I mean, Can he finally be that star recruit that everyone was talking about? Do you see him making some strides this year?
I do, just because I think, even though we kind of talked about, I think the offensive line is going to improve. So I think you have a little bit more room to run than he did last year. I know a lot of people were disappointed with him last year. Before the season, you even heard his name in some dark horse Heisman candidates, and then he never really clicked for him throughout the season last year.
Heck, I didn't think they gave him the ball enough.
Yeah, for one, like you said, they only give him about 12 or 13 carries a game, which is a little bit odd. And then even this year, coming back in, there's been a lot of talk about Kalen Lebron, who missed most of last season with an injury. Mm-hmm. I've seen some people start to ask for him to have the job instead, so that he might still have a little bit of a split load. So I do think the pressure is kind of on him this year, because if he doesn't produce and, if it's not on the offensive line like it was last year, he could start to see some of his carries start going Kalen Lebron's way.
Yeah, well, he's got home run potential, that's for sure. I remember seeing him in the spring game that first spring. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be good. And so I think there's still a lot in the tank for Cam Akers if they can just figure it out. Everything was bad last year at Florida State. Hopefully it gets better for the Noles. Tashawn Reed from The Athletic has some good stories up there right now on Tamari and Terry, and also on James Blackman. Go check out The Athletic. I think they do a nice job. And Tashawn, we appreciate you checking in. Hopefully we can do this a lot more as we get closer and closer to football season. One last thing. You're a Missouri guy. If Haskins and Murray are off the board, should the Jags look at Drew Lock?
100%. 100%. Even if they, I know I saw the Nick Foles thing coming in, but you need a younger guy kind of come in and develop. And I think that's what Drew Lock kind of needs. I don't think if he starts right away, I think that can kind of throw his career off track. But I think if he can sit behind, Nick Foles or wherever they end up with a quarterback, I think that could be a good pick that turns out great for him down the line.
FSU beating a little draft coverage. Tashawn Reed, nice catching up with you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, we'll do that much, much more. Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. Go check out his stuff on theathletic.com. And by the way, Drew Lock turned more heads at the Combine. Quiet story, right? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people talking about it. We were there at the Senior Bowl. I'm telling you, he's a guy that was going to help his draft stock in the meeting rooms, the interviews. We kind of sensed that, right, in Mobile?
No, for sure. I'm just trying not to sneeze right now. I had a sneeze during that whole interview.
Did you really?
When I was talking to him, and then it went away, and now it's starting to come back again.
Well, you can always just turn the mic right off. See that button? Just turn the mic off and then go in the corner.
See, I didn't know that. I'm still learning, man. But, yes, Drew Lock, definitely a lot of potential.
Go sneeze.
I'm trying to get it out.
God bless you. When we come back, stay in your lane and maybe a little therapy session for me. Next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Why do local women watch Action News Jacks? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they can just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News Jacks than any other station.
The 2019 Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio, brought to you by Harrell and Harrell.
It's hard to beat that new car smell, especially when it's a brand new Hyundai. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks, and I think we can all agree there's something to that new car smell you just can't beat. You also can't beat the exceptional service at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. It's a brand new dealership here in town, and my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville live by giving you the most superb car buying experience you can get. No one likes to be haggled or pressured when buying a car. The staff at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville understands this and emphasizes their no-risk, no-pressure approach. They'll help you find the right car for you at the right price. And if you are not 100% satisfied with your new car, you can bring it back to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville within the first 7 days for your money back. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with the limited lifetime warranty that's good anywhere in the United States. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
From the NBA to the NFL, we've got you covered. The worldwide leader in sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Robert called in and said, leave Drew Lock to the Miami Dolphins. Might not be a bad pickup. I don't love Drew Lock, but I don't mind Drew Lock.
As a first-round pick?
Oh, yeah. No, he's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
He'll be a first-round pick.
So do you see 4 quarterbacks go in the first round?
Yeah, probably. Daniel Jones.
Patriots going to get Daniel Jones?
I don't know if it's Patriots, but I would think late first-round value for Daniel Jones is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, again, keep in mind, if you get him in the first round, too, from a quarterback perspective, especially where salaries are, if it turns out, you control him for an extra year in the first round because of the fifth-year option. So that makes it almost worth jumping up, again, if you really like the guy. You know, I think Baltimore jumped into that first round last year to get Lamar Jackson, partly because they liked him and they could, but also because if you get him in that first round, you get to control him an extra year if things, you know, work in the favor. So that makes sense. All right. I got a little therapy session
Should we
here.
Play some music or
before
something?
staying in your lane?
Should we play some Enya?
Probably not, but I got to take you back to Sunday. This is a Sunday thing, but I'm still not fully over this. So anybody who's been driving, a ton of people driving right now, how many like near accidents have you got
in Jacksonville?
Or just in general, like in your life, a lot, right? You've been in a few accidents in a car?
Well, yeah.
In general, like I have too. I've been in a few.
Yeah, I've been in a few pretty serious ones.
I had one like more serious than the other, but still fortunate to not be too serious. But I've been in a few.
They happen.
So I'm on 295. I'm going out towards Cecil to watch Kaylee play ball out at the, you know, where the equestrian center is out there, Cecil Field, all that stuff.
Okay.
It's kind of west side.
Gotcha.
Kind of far out for us, but not too far out for everybody in the Jacksonville area. If you come from St. Johns County, it's a good 40-minute ride. But 295, getting off 103rd Street, taking a left. So we're at the red light, 103rd Street. It's 2 lanes. We get a green light. We're stopped. We get a green light, and we start to go. Well, fortunately, both me and the car next to me, and I give a lot of credit to the car next to me. I have no idea how they saw this. Maybe he stopped because I stopped. I have no idea. This guy is flying through that red light. I mean, this isn't like, you don't think, this is someone that probably just totally like blacked out for a second and didn't think that it was a red light. But I don't think that, maybe you never know if it's texting. Like, I'm not claiming it's like 11 in the morning. I'm not claiming it's like a drunk driver type of situation. Yeah. But either way, I'm telling you, flying through, and we just like both stop and doesn't hit us, just misses us.
Yeah.
But it was one of those moments where 7 minutes down the road, like I wasn't shaking. I don't want to say shaking, but I was still like, I could feel it like in my legs. I could feel it everywhere. It was like, that was not going to be good. Yeah. That result was not going, like, I know for a fact I'd be in the hospital still at the least right now. And listen, people get in accidents every day. It's dangerous driving. It's more dangerous than ever driving because of the phones and everything else. And people get in severe accidents, and you hate to see them, and you just hope that you don't get in one. But it's like, I was like, I can like still feel it. Like you can picture yourself right there, and nothing even happened. Like it didn't, but you want to at that moment. Like if you wonder where, I'm not encouraging road rage, but if you want to know like where road rage comes into play, like in that situation, you would have loved to have been able to track that guy down and just be like,
"Hey man,
what the heck, dude?
What's up?" Yeah.
And, I mean, but I seriously, I haven't felt that. I think I've probably felt it a few times where it's kind of, oh, that was close. This thing was so close, and it was my driver's side door. So I was just going to get blasted.
You would have the engine sitting in your lap, basically, from the other driver.
And it was like, I'm telling you, dude, it was like 40, 45 miles an hour down 103rd Street. Not even, they were oblivious to the red light.
Yeah.
Oblivious to the red light. And so it was close. Like, we just all stopped in the intersection.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, I almost felt like we all wanted to get out and be like, dang, that was close.
Well, and I'm just speaking for myself here, but obviously, I mean, I'm sure we've all had close calls and stuff, but it's amazing, like, what your body does when you have a close call. Because, like, to me, like, I get, like, the tingles or whatever.
That's what it was. It was more tingles than
weird.
shakes.
Yeah.
Like, all the way down my legs, I could still feel it, like, 5 minutes later at a red light. I was like, wow, this thing, like, still bothering me.
And the only time I've ever really felt that is in cars, like, you know, close car accidents, things like that. Like, even like playing football or MMA, like, I don't get that type of feeling. Whatever reason, when you're in a car and it's a close call, like, your body just goes through something, man. And it's like you said, even if a couple minutes later, you're still kind of shaken up about it. So
there it is. I got it off my, and hopefully now I can move on.
Well,
sleep a little better.
But the moral of the story,
the moral of the story is drive safe, people. Drive safe. I know it's hard. It's you got to get lucky on the road sometimes.
Yeah,
you really do.
No,
I mean, we get bad accidents around here. We're in the 95 corridor. You know, it's awful. I mean, we have traffic cameras down on the TV side, and some of the wrecks and stuff. Man.
And listen,
so drive safe.
I'm not going to give a PSA about, you know, being on your cell phone when you're driving, but it is an epidemic problem, and
it is a problem.
People got to, you know.
I've always said this about it. Okay, and listen, this is not going to be self-righteous, Brent. I am guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not lying. I'm guilty of it. Try to do it as little as possible, but I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. But thankfully, I was not doing it there.
It's a good thing
because I even checked
because
myself. I'm like, wait a minute, was I not paying attention?
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, no, I didn't even have a phone near me. Had seatbelt on, all that stuff. So I had the stuff covered. But I always say this about will we get to a point in cars, and because the phone stuff isn't going away, instead it might be more prevalent, that somebody comes up with a way to use them more smartly in your car.
Yeah.
You know what? And it's dangerous because right now the movement, which I agree with, is put it down.
Mm-hmm.
Save the text. You can look at it in 5, and I agree. It should be. Like, the billboards are smart, the campaigns are smart, but I just wonder if we get to a point at some time where it crosses into, you know what, we are not going to fix this. So let's find a smarter way for people to use them, like in their own cars. It sounds ridiculous, right?
No, it does, but that's the way we're going. Like, maybe even some kind of technology where you can't use it at all. For instance, like,
shut it off, right?
Yeah. So like maybe
I thought of that.
Well, yeah. So like maybe like your cell phone's connected to your car, where if you take your cell phone like off like this mat, then your car shuts off. Maybe like not that extreme, but like something like that, where if you take like your phone off like the console on your car, then your car like stops.
Absolutely,
running.
like you can't do it, and then maybe it's like a golf cart. You ever play? If you play golf and you get close to the green and it just shuts down.
Yep.
Like something like that.
Yeah.
Where I wouldn't be now. See, they were going to get into all these rights issues and all this stuff. I know it, but I'm telling you, I'm about to hit a new level of this probably in a few years when my kids start driving. And so then you'll even be more aware of it and probably more campaign against it. But that's like not a terrible idea. And then what if you just build like every car has like the OnStar or whatever technology. Instead of paying for it, it just has it in it. Because what people would say is, well, then I can't. What if I need to call 911? Or what if I need to do? Well, then you'd always be able to call in every car.
Yep. Zero excuses then. What else are you gonna say?
We're on to something.
I think we are, man. Let's go ahead and copyright that right now.
This is a sports show solving the world's problems.
That we are, man.
And now I feel a lot better. Thanks for letting me get off my chest. Stay in your lane. Still to come. And back to some Nick Foles talk. And I think even Stuart Weber's stopping by, which means the hair song should be queued up next on ESPN 690.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Hall of Famer Tony Dungy.
Rooney Rule in place. A lot of people say it's not working. What's going on with this, and what could be the remedy for this?
Ron Rivera, minority defensive coach, has been to a Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin, minority defensive coach, has won a Super Bowl. Anthony Lynn, minority running back coach. So that just kind of echoes my point. It doesn't have to be quarterback coach.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hi, this is Earl Ron, president of New South Window. If you need new windows or doors for your home, heads up. This message is for you. New South is having a one-day factory sale this Saturday only in our factory showroom. 40% off high-performance award-winning windows, 40% off energy-efficient windows and patio doors, 40% off our factory direct products installed. Bring in your measurements for on-the-spot pricing or call today. One day only, this Saturday from 9 till 4. New South windows are made in Florida, for Florida homes, by Florida workers, and we guarantee them for life. Please visit us at newsouthwindow.com.
Let's be honest, a jewelry store is not where most guys want to be. Guys like Paul Goodall.
First-time diamond buyers, most of us are engagement ring buyers. We have no idea whatsoever what we're walking into, and we push it off, and we push it off, and we push it off.
But like so many other men, Paul was pleasantly surprised when he walked into Diamonds Direct.
When you go in, you don't have to have a big background in gemology. They don't look down the end of their nose at you as you would find in some other places and make you uncomfortable because you're not an expert in diamonds.
But by the time he left, Paul was an expert in diamonds because Diamonds Direct took the time to educate him, show him the inside secrets of the industry, and give him the tools to make a smart decision.
They do a really, really good job of laying out the information for you and not pressing you.
Diamonds Direct, a guy-friendly jewelry store where you're always treated with respect.
The great thing about Diamonds Direct is they alleviate that stress.
So relax, guys. It's Diamonds Direct. We've got your back. Get directions and store hours now at diamondsdirect.com.
Now you have a bunch of young guys who found out we were all on the trade block. Now that trade didn't go through, so I agree with Magic, and you got to put on your big boy pants, but we all don't know how everybody's going to deal with it.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane, Coos at Action Sports Jax. Stuart Weber has entered the fray.
Another good hair day had by all.
Hey,
I'm dizzy now.
Weber, $30,000 would you cut off your hair?
Yes. Mine will grow back really
Brent,
quickly.
It's not about the money, man. It's cutting off a part of you.
You made a bad decision.
It's about the money
I made
for
a bad
me.
decision?
Yeah.
Why did I make a bad decision?
Because you passed up $30,000.
So? What? It's just money, man. It's all good.
I could use
How much were you making that rookie year?
Well,
probably like $440.
Would have made a lot more if I would have got my rookie bonus, but since the lockout came around, I didn't qualify for it.
That's BS.
To kind of explain the whole situation, I would have made more with my rookie bonus because I was a 5th round pick, started 12 games. I would have made more of my rookie bonus than I did the whole season, plus my signing bonus. But
so how much? Like what?
The rookie bonus?
Yeah,
it would have been like 3.
Really?
Probably. I think 250. Yeah. 3.
And because of the lockout, they didn't give you that.
Nope.
Why was that part of it? I don't get it.
It's part of the CBA. That's what they initiated.
Like if there's a lockout, rookies won't get a bonus?
Guess so. I don't know.
That's odd.
That's weird.
Like I can see if you missed the whole year, but you guys were playing like you only.
No, so my first season obviously wasn't the lockout. So my first season, 2010, going into the 2011 season was the lockout. So everything that happened in 2010 season was brought up in the lockout.
Okay.
So it would have been going to my second year when the lockout happened, and then it's when the rookie contracts got discussed because we don't.
Okay. So they eliminated them from the new CBA.
Yeah, because we don't get them right away after the season's over. We have to wait a little bit.
So they should have grandfathered it in going into 2011.
Yeah.
I mean, you players can be so dumb in the CBA stuff.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, what the hell?
There's a loaded statement. Wow.
I mean, seriously, you screwed yourself at times.
Careful, man. Careful now. Steady.
I mean, why would they not grandfather? They screwed. See, that's what they do. See, all these top players, they screw the young guy. I always say that.
What did I say about the CBA? And the problem was that the players were not on the same page. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to call anybody out. Not going to talk anybody down.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. But I'm going to need you to mind your P's and Q's when you talk about NFL players. Please. I'm going to ask you nicely. All right? Hey,
listen.
I'm going to ask you nicely, Brent.
That part is fine. I'm just going to bat for the young players. The rookies shouldn't have got screwed that year. And young players to this day.
I agree.
Young players, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, young players, even to this day, to me, don't make enough money. They should make more money.
Nor do young broadcasters.
No, that's true, too. That is true.
Yep.
All right, Weber, you were up in Camden County today.
Yeah.
The Apollos.
Not to see the Wildcats, but instead to see the Apollos. A little weird being there during the daytime.
Yeah, I bet.
Seeing them practice. And, we go up there for the Friday night football quite often for the Blitz during the fall. But, the Apollos, of course, as we've documented on this show, are practicing in Georgia, staying in downtown Jacksonville, but practicing in Georgia in order to get workers' comp for their players. So kind of like that, league going to bat for those players to get them a nice little bump. And, good for them.
Orlando's hot. They're 4-0.
4-0, best team in the league, only undefeated team in the league. It was supposed to be an undefeated clash this week against the Birmingham Iron, but they did not hold up their end this past week.
Super solid jerseys, too, for the Birmingham Iron. Have you seen their jerseys, their uniforms?
Yeah,
I like them a lot. Yeah.
All right.
Little black on black. I was going to ask you, though, Stuart, so as far as practices, are they high intensity? Is it more laid back? It's Tuesday, so
yeah, it's Tuesday,
they have a couple days.
So they didn't have pads on.
Okay.
And
laid back then.
Yeah. I'd say
qualify.
That's fair, but it's the start of the week for them. So I would guess that tomorrow, the Wednesday, is probably the hard day for them if I had to guess. But they're preparing, and it looked a lot like NFL practices that we go to, where they're just running individual drills and running some team, doing some special teams, just going through the paces. And it felt like I was back in the fall, covering Jags practice. Got to shoot the first, 45 minutes of it while they were an individual, and then didn't get, take the camera off the tripod, point it the other way, make sure they know you're not rolling on them, and off they went. Although it was less 11 on 11, more offense to their side, defense to their side. They stayed pretty split the whole time.
Yeah, interesting. The AAF numbers, by the way, were, I think, down a little bit in week number 4, but they've hovered about 500,000 people each night for that primetime game, which I don't know what that means in the landscape. I think 500,000 people sounds like a decent number. It's not a huge number. Keep in mind, you got to go find it on NFL Network, CBS Sports. I think it's going to be a little tougher. CBS Sports Network, not CBS Sports.
This week's game, by the way, on TNT for the Apollos.
Okay, so then you really have to go find it. So I just think, and now it's going to get engulfed a bit more by bigger golf, March Madness, NFL free agency, and draft. So it's just not top of mind. So it'll be an interesting couple of months. I think if they were able to come up with something with CBS or NBC or ABC, now you're putting it out there on a platform that even on a bad day is going to give you probably 1.5 million people. Mm-hmm. And so that's still the goal. I wonder where it is right now in terms of the executives of, hey, this has been okay. At least they're holding steady. So I think that's a good thing.
And curious what that infusion of cash came from the Carolina Hurricanes owner. I'm wondering how much that played a role in where they're at right now, or if they changed anything or what they did with that.
Yeah, or
if that was just to keep them going, to keep them afloat, as some of the media reports were saying. So, curious. I've still been watching some of the games. Watching the Apollos play in the snow this past week was kind of cool, just because football in the snow, from a viewing standpoint where it's not snowing, is more fun.
Football in the snow is always fun to watch. But they got to get rid of some of these 14-11 games, too, though. They need 38-35. You need to be going up and down the field and scoring.
But I just don't know if they're going to be able to have the quality of players to do that.
Yeah, though that's the question mark, right? XFL, by the way, Mark Trestman is the new coach in. Is that Tampa?
No way.
Where was it Tampa?
I forget where it was, but anyway.
In the XFL.
Do you play for Trestman?
Yeah, man. Trestman's my dude.
You liked him?
I was a huge fan of him.
Because it's interesting perception of Trestman, I think, on the outside.
Yeah.
It's a real smart guy, right? Cerebral, smart
Very
guy.
Cerebral guy, yeah.
It was Tampa, by the way.
Well, you know the whole story when I got cut by the Bears and it was kind of a rough scene. He actually pulled me aside after and was like, this isn't the way we're supposed to treat players and things like that, and said, if you ever need like a job, if you have a job interview, you need like a recommendation, put his name down. He'll talk to anybody that I need.
That's cool.
He was really cool in my time of exiting.
Well, so instead of a job interview, we just say, no, it's part of the job. So give us a call.
Hey, I can reach out to him and have him call in. That'd be good to talk to him again.
We'll have to do that.
He's
at
a solid
some
dude. Really solid dude.
Hey, a couple of locals on the Apollo team, though. You met Reggie Northrup, former star in the First Coast.
Yeah, of course, he went to First Coast High School before going to Florida State, so chatted with him a little bit. He's actually the leader of that defense in that middle linebacker spot. Reggie Northrup is, and he's not a very vocal guy when you're interviewing him, but out there you can tell he's the guy who's pumping up his players and getting them going, which is really cool to see. one of our local guys doing that. And then also Bryce Kennedy, who's got a really interesting story out of Paxson, which, is not exactly known for its football.
Not a factory.
Not a factory. It's a smart school. I mean, that's where, the kids are taking hard classes there at Paxson. Not to say that they're not at other places, but Paxson's not known for that. And so he went to FIU to to do something in finance. And he was taking out student loans year after year to be able to do that. And then his junior year, he decided to walk on and play football. And then senior year, he got a scholarship.
Huh.
Dang.
Yeah. And so from there, I mean, this past year, he was with the Jaguars right before the start of the season for maybe a week or so.
I remembered that.
They had signed him, right before they made those last cuts. So he's here during part of training camp. And now he's getting that chance. So it's cool when you see these different stories. You get the reclamation projects, but then you get the late bloomers, the guys who maybe just don't have as many years of football under their belt. And Bryce Kennedy's a perfect example of that.
That's good. Hey, what's the latest with our high school hoop team, NFEI?
Last I checked, they were down 6 in the third quarter.
Okay, playing for a state championship.
Yeah, playing for a state championship right now is NFEI, the North Florida Educational Institute. So we're keeping an eye on that. We'll have highlights tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30 throughout the evening. And then, of course, tomorrow, Paxson, Jackson, and UC all hit the court.
All right. Three-headed monster.
That's it. Paxson, Jackson.
I like my commercial spots.
Yeah.
Triple header.
Little three-piece coming at you.
Hey, stay in your lane. How about we do pump the brakes right now, and on the other side, I'm sorry, cruise control, then pump brakes on the other side.
I like it. All right, so cruise control real quick. The White Stripes badass solo frontman Jack White. I can say that, Brent.
Yeah,
Come on.
You can.
It's partnering up with...
I just told you football players are dumb. So
all right, it's partnering up with the Pius Institute and Friends of Historic Hamtramck to launch a campaign to save the Hamtramck Stadium, which is one of the last existing Negro League baseball stadiums in the U.S. Players such as Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson were some players that played at this stadium. So there's just some of the stars associated with it. The plans are for Jack White to work closely with the foundation and whatnot, and they're going to try to get more baseball games and soccer games there. So shout out to Jack White, a very entertaining, very gifted front man and everything.
That's pretty cool.
Are you a Jack White fan?
I can't say I am.
Okay.
Heard of him, though.
All right.
So I think that's mission accomplished.
I am a fan.
I think the fact that I've heard of him is mission accomplished for me.
Fair enough. But hey, when I come back with Pump Your Brakes, me and Brent Martineau owe everybody an apology.
Oh dear.
Just to let you guys know.
Why did I get looped into this?
Because you're with me, and you said some things too that you're going to regret. So we'll find out.
Huh. Hopefully one other guy has some regretful things to say about Nick Foles, or he'll regret it later on. He does have regretful things to say. Whatever the heck that means. Next on ESPN 690.
You know you love the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We've got limited bathrooms here in the building, and sometimes on occasion, if they have a room empty, I'm allowed to go in between shows and use a bathroom to freshen up. I hear people coming in, and I'm just yelling, "Wait a minute!" But my plan gets exposed when I hear, "Hey, Dan Le Batard!"
The Dan Le Batard Show, now 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we have, and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call us at 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
From Daytona Beach to Brunswick, now ESPN can be heard loud and clear everywhere on one of the most powerful AM radio stations in Florida. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, Austin, as we welcome everybody back, last segment, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Remind me, Austin, again of
Go ahead.
What we said earlier in the show. What it would be like you telling me or me telling you that Senderick Marks would come on the show and you're gone?
Yeah, so we got into it what were we even talking about? Oh, it was about the whole
Cameo?
Lakers. No, Cameo. It was about the Lakers. Remember we talked about the young talent with the Lakers when they found out that Magic Johnson tried to ship him away for Anthony Davis and how those young players might have felt a little betrayed and hence why the Lakers aren't playing that good right now. And it would be like if Brent went to Senderick Marks and offered up my job, said I wasn't doing a good job, and then come to find out Senderick didn't accept it, and I still have to come to work every single day with Brent Martineau.
Well,
it would be a little awkward. Why?
It would be a little awkward because guess who's on the phone right now?
Senderick Marks.
You got that right. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man? I missed that laugh, by the way, first of all. Thanks for calling in.
Man, no problem, man. I was sitting here watching y'all live on Twitter. I said, they ain't talking about nothing. Let me call in and see what they doing.
You would be very good at this, by the way. So come on anytime you want to come on the show. Give everybody an idea what you're up to. Are you still in Dallas, in the Dallas area?
Yeah, I'm in the Dallas area, man. I recently sold my house there in Jackson. Really wanted to stay, but felt like it would have been kind of awkward if I stayed there, for some odd reason. But right now, just relaxing, enjoying the family, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out how to make a buck if you really want to be honest.
Fair enough, but I'll tell you what, Senderick, it's not going to be on this show, so you better pick something else, man.
Hey, man, that's up to Brent.
Hey, you got any good stories? Tell us a good Austin Lane story, anything? I mean, come on.
Oh, man. When Austin was there before I got there.
Yeah.
So when I came along, I was the new guy. He didn't really talk to me much. I guess he probably thought I was, lame, or he really didn't fit. This guy with dreads and gold teeth coming in there. I don't think he really enjoyed me that much. But we didn't really get to hang out that much. When I first got there. But I remember Austin. Good teammate, good guy, and I would like to come back and we could have a debate. See if I could take his job.
That would be a good way to do it.
Right,
I've got something to ask you. You have the dreads. Do you still have the dreads, right?
Yeah, I still got them.
All right. Well, Austin told us, I think in his rookie year, that he got up to $30,000 of an offer to cut his dreads and shave his head and didn't do it. Would you have done it?
It's hard, man. Tell him.
No.
See, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Because it's more to the hair than what you just thinking, Brett. More to it.
See, that's what I'm telling him. Like, I tried telling him, like, listen, when you go through training camp and stuff, you start sweating those locks out a little bit. You have to get them retwisted. It's a lot that goes into it. And especially if you spend more than 5 years with it, man, it becomes a part of you. So cutting off your dreads is like cutting off a part of you. And you can't put a price on that.
Yeah, like a limb now, man.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for proving my point.
Yeah, the only way I cut him if my wife makes me. I cut him if she makes me.
Okay. Well, hey, speaking of wife, kids, family, everybody doing well?
Yeah, everybody's doing great, man. Everybody's doing real good.
And how's your golf game?
Oh, my golf game is unbelievable right now. Listen, I'm not lying like, when I used to say my golf game was getting real good when I was there. But my golf game is unbelievable. The only thing I got to work on is keeping my driver straight. I haven't figured that out. But now I don't even use it. I just come off the tee with an iron. I can still make it on a regulation and hope to make some putts.
They got some great golf courses in the Dallas area, big golf area, of course. We got the Players' Championship coming up next week. I know that was a good time when you were here.
Yeah, man, I used to love it. Going down, seeing a lot of the guys that were Auburn alumni, just being out there, being around it, seeing all the celebrity golf players. I mean, it was just cool. And also get to be down there and, like, mingle with the people. The people actually see you. They get a chance to touch you and talk to you. Just being one of them at that moment was cool for me. I enjoyed it.
We always enjoyed it. I know you're a fan favorite here in Jacksonville. All right, give us a football take, and then I'll let you go. Should the Jags get Foles? Should they get Foles?
Should they get? No, you shouldn't get Foles. I mean, what you going to do? You don't get Foles, you're going to get hurt. Week 3, you back to who? Makes no sense.
All right.
So you like the young QB?
I like Blake Bortles. What do you mean?
Oh, you like staying with Blake?
Yeah, man. Come on. I mean, who took you from where you was at and got you to where you was? I mean, it just takes time, man. What the guy has, two, three head coaches, 4, 5, 10 offensive coordinators, 11 quarterback coaches. I mean, get a man a chance.
Well, that's a good take. And by the way, as you know, because I know you've got your pulse on things, not a popular take here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I know it. Oh, I'm ready for it.
Hey,
I'm ready for the Twitter backlash. But I mean, I believe in Blake. I feel like until you give him a fair chance, which I know he's had chances, but until you give him the opportunity to have the coaches behind him for a while and him actually having the system, I don't think you could just throw him away. I mean, this would be a guy that in a couple of years, if they throw him away, he's going to come out and win for another team. Then it's going to be, oh, well, why couldn't he have done this here?
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you on that,
when
man.
When you're in that situation, it kind of seems like you don't give nothing time, Yeah. And that's what I think hurts you. But it's tough losing for a long time also.
Yeah, I get it. And you get it, too. And I don't disagree with you there. I think he actually could become like Nick Foles 3-4 years down the road, where he comes off the bench for somebody in a system he's been in for a while with weapons around him, and he does very well and takes a team into a playoff run. Maybe not win a Super Bowl, but takes a team in. He's played a lot of football. So, hey, good take on Blake.
Man, he a couple minutes away from winning the Super Bowl a couple years ago, so don't just completely throw that away like that never happened,
Yeah, we do forget. We have short memories. But I tell you this, you're one of our favorites to remember. Always one of my favorite Jags. We appreciate you checking in. And maybe after the takes like that,
Brent,
maybe Austin.
Mind your P's and Q's. I'm telling you right now, Derek, and you stay where you're at too. Jacksonville doesn't want you anymore. No offense to you or anything, man.
Keep working on that driver. Thanks, man.
I will, man.
Appreciate it, man.
I'll see you guys all this season, man. I'm going to try to make it down to a game.
All right, you call in anytime. We might ask you to come on again. Good talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all, man.
All right. Derek Marks checking in. I reached out to him, and he said he'd jump on for
Brent.
a couple minutes.
Yeah,
you didn't
funny,
see that one coming, did you?
Didn't see that one coming at all.
Be careful who you drop names on now.
I guess so, man. and to be fair with Derek, bro, he is obviously a great guy, but I was only there with him for a couple months because I was on the way out when he was coming in.
I get so confused with the crossover of that.
It's insane.
I really do.
Yeah.
It seems like from 2010 to 2015 felt all together.
His first year would have been Bradley's year, if I'm not mistaken, and that was when I was on my way out during OTAs.
And I'll tell you what, Sinderic, genuinely, I think if you ask the fans, love Sinderic Marks, and I don't know how you can. I mean, that laugh's great personality, awesome guy, really a good fit in Jacksonville. And what I always loved about his deal is they basically gave him a 1-year prove-it deal when he came over from Tennessee, and he proved it, man. He proved it, and he earned it. And what I felt bad about is the ACL. I mean, once he tore the ACL, that was a tough thing to bounce back from for Sinderic.
One of the best memories I have of him, though, is when I forgot what the numbers were, but he had to get, I think, one more sack to qualify for a bonus, and he ended up getting the sack and had a little money dance and everything. So that was cool to see.
Quick little story on that. You know the Facebook memories that come up?
Yeah.
Well, Ty was watching. Ty used, a couple years ago, would go crazy in front of the TV. Like, Weber's seen the videos, but we would actually video of him on a big play. He would be bouncing up and down. Well, that was the play recently that showed up on my Facebook memories. It was a Thursday night game, I think.
Yeah.
And Senderic cashed in with the sack. Yep. And, he did kind of the money dance. And, Ty was dancing with him in the living room.
I'll say, man. Yeah, covering that story on a Thanksgiving with his family was awesome, too.
That was good.
We went over to his house, and, it's tough to work on Thanksgiving. That day, it was not. That was fun. That was a fun story.
It was fun. Good dude. So we appreciate him calling in. All right, pump the brakes, stay in your lane, and we got to get out of here soon.
We owe an apology, Brent. If you remember, probably the first week of the show, I brought up a story about a Colorado runner who choked out a mountain lion, actually killed it with his bare hands. And
Heard about this.
And we were talking back and forth about, wow, that dude's a badass. He's tough. Like, holy cow, how do you kill a mountain lion with your hands? Well, I'm sorry, viewers. Brent, I'm sorry for bringing the story to attention. I'm sorry to the sponsor, sorry to my boss, because that story was a little embellished.
No.
What once started out as a mountain lion has now become a malnourished kitten that weighed 30 pounds. Are you effing kidding me? How does your face get scratched up so much by a 30-pound cat? If a cat comes at you, dude, just kick it. Game over. Did the cat know karate?
Easy, Peter.
30-pound cat is still pretty big.
Coos, my son weighs 40 pounds. I guarantee he ain't going to scratch me in the face. If he comes at me, I'll just nudge him. It's game over. So how this guy got attacked, got put in the hospital with half his face missing fingers and whatnot, is beyond me. What's this guy's name so I can call him out? Everybody can call him out.
Hey, one question about that, though.
Hey, Travis Kaufman. Yeah, found out your name, too.
I saw it was a kitten, But is that what they call a small mountain lion?
It was
like a baby.
Yeah, it was a baby mountain lion.
All right, but Brent, it's 30 pounds. Don't defend him. Stop. It's a 30-pound cat.
Listen.
No.
30-pound mountain lion probably still has some significant muscles.
Stuart, you got to back me up here. It's 30 pounds.
I'm on the kick side. You could just kick that thing.
You could just kick it. It's
only 30 pounds.
How about the teeth? What do the teeth look like?
Kick the teeth.
The teeth are going to come into my face because I'm kicking it.
Yeah, you just kick it.
You guys are dead wrong.
Brent,
I am going to put you in a cage
this guy wants to
after this fight.
And this guy wants to corner me in the cage, and he's nervous about a 30-pound mountain lion.
After
Give
this
me a
fight,
break.
after you win this fight, and I'm your ice guy, and we win this fight, and I'm 1-0, we are going to put you in a cage with a kitten.
Can't drive.
But that kitten's going to be a mountain lion.
Oh, man. You know what? You might as well call up Derek Marks right now and get him on the show and take my job. Because if you're going to be afraid of a 30-pound mountain lion, Brent, we can't even be friends. I mean, we can't be co-hosts, but we can't even be friends anymore, man. Insane.
All right, I want to end the show back on the Nick Foles front.
Segue. Speaking of mountain lions.
There was no easy segue there.
There's no segue there
How about
whatsoever.
the Derek Marks strong take of Blake?
Fresh.
He's on the boat.
We got, I forget which one it was, Kuz. Dan Orlovsky. Not a big fan of Foles or the Jags marriage.
They've got one receiver on their team with 100 catches in his NFL career, and he's coming off a devastating knee injury in Marquise Lee. That's it. They've got one guy. I know they've got a promising young player in D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole. They've got no tight ends. They've got a tailback that can't stay healthy and sometimes doesn't want to play. The defense, again, was a little bit elevated because of those turnovers. And so I don't like Foles there because I don't really like anybody there. Just because that team is so deprived of talent. It's like, why would we expect Nick Foles to go down there and be anything close to what he was when he was surrounded by really good players in Philly?
Fire.
Did I just take that personal? Yes, I did. He doesn't like anybody here?
Did you see my reaction to that? Start calling me Mr. Big Chest because I start flexing a little bit.
We might have to get Orlovsky on now. That might be the next one.
No, absolutely, and I want to talk to him a little bit. Where's he supposed to go then, Orlovsky? He's supposed to go to Miami? Because what does Miami got?
How do you not say? What I don't get is, listen, the Jags offense, I've been screaming about their lack of weapons for a long time. But there are some players, D.D. Westbrook, you don't like that as a quarterback? He's got promise. Leonard Fournette, if he goes back to two, you can say at least the if, right?
What does Miami have? What does Washington have? And go. Orlovsky and go. Nobody. So
Orlovsky.
Keep the Jaguars out your mouth.
I might have to try to get him on. Hey, but
let's get him on.
Don't run near one of those mountain lion kittens. For Stuart Weber, Coos, Austin Lane, Sid Derek Marks joined us too. I'm Brent Martineau. We'll see you on TV.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Boston was a pit of misery outside of the Celtics for decades in terms of winning. Okay, you had the Celtics and you had everything else that was kind